to the Everwind Chronicles. My name is Doug. I'm the Dungeon Master. We are a group of friends and storytellers telling you a story through Dungeons and Dragons. So, where we last left off, the party, of course, had taken had joined the rebellion in Lirindil and been sent on a mission to find out what happened to the weapons supplier Hethra and why she stopped. After investigation and planning, they struck a blow against her organization, a very heavy one, to basically say, don't mess with us. Like, don't go back on the deal. You're going to regret it if you don't continue this deal. Which eventually worked, but in the process, Asura added some extras to the deal that the party has been slowly discovering is a lot more complex than she had really thought through when she made it sort of impulsively. And so that deal included the Circle Breakers, the very tiny group of people struggling for just to free slaves in the city of Tir Ratha are now going to be serving as security for Hethra's organization across the nation of Al-Raqqa and, beyond. These barely out of slavery people now suddenly being thrust into security and smuggler roles. And feeling a little clueless and a bit of mixed bag of emotions for them in response. And so the party has been in the process of kind of doing some final shopping, wrapping up whatever business they have left in Al-Raqqa or in Tir Ratha. In the process, getting summoned to meet with someone who turned out to be Hadressa, the mysterious, intimidating woman who is a apparently very important member of the Eldrin, the organization that Asura and Stoic and formerly Berenice were a part of. And this being the first time that Serac and Zenoa have met her. And so having their individual conversations with her as well, and some interesting things happening there, the party had gathered back together and began the process of temporarily setting aside anything around that to get out of the city and kind of wrap up things as Sithris the Fae told them he didn't recommend they stick around because of some things he did in the process that might implicate them, so they probably just don't want to stick around. Aside from the fact that Asura has been seen in her actual form by not good people. So after that, they get to the evening. Well, theoretically, if you guys had talked about several different plans or how you're going to proceed or what you're going to do related, but we're wrapping up that evening after you had done a bunch of shopping and the conversation with Hadressa that morning. We'll pick back up that evening. And I'll be honest with you, I can't remember the last thing that happened.
I mean, we were arguing over what we were going to do.
Yeah.
That's essentially, I think, the last kind of where we left off.
Yeah, you had messaged somebody, I think.
Did I?
No, I mean, he was messaging back and forth with
We
Idris.
mentioned me messaging the Hermit sisters, but it did not happen yet.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you had messaged Idris. That's what it was,
Yeah.
I think, when we left off.
Yeah, we were talking back and forth, and basically he said it's all on us and needs no help.
Yeah, so Idris conveyed really great,
GLHF.
it's great that you guys got it back on board, but he is extremely limited and confined to Lirindil. There's not much he can do.
Mm-hmm.
That basically there's one guy who's consolidated all criminal
Mm-hmm.
criminal operations, so they either have to do it on themselves or work with him and not to trust him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we'll pick things back up. So we'll just say, if you want, this is kind of up to you, we'll say that you have gathered back at the Sandy Boot, or if you still want to be out about doing stuff, but we'll say you're all together at the Sandy Boot.
I don't think we needed anything else, right? Like, we've got all the stuff we need to get.
We do. We just don't have a way to leave tonight. So
Right.
look, we need to figure out what we're gonna do here. I know you guys' heads are probably spinning. Andressa never leaves you in a good place.
Oh yeah. No, there's stuff we need to talk about.
Yeah. So,
One burnt bridge at a time, please.
well, so where do you want to start? Do you want to start with Andressa, or do you guys want to start with figuring out our next step?
If we need to beat a sweet retreat really quickly, I probably need to try to leave in the morning.
Let's just figure out how to get out of here with our stuff.
Yeah, which means we need a solid plan. We don't have to have the full plan. We'll just figure it out as we go. What else is new? We just need to figure out how we're going to get from here to at least the port.
My vote is we need to hire a caravan.
Yes.
We can act as the guards along with the circle breakers, but we don't have the wagons, we don't have the drivers. We don't even know how much inventory we're moving.
We haven't gotten that information, right? Like whether it's 1 crate or like 30 crates, no sizes, nothing like that.
Yeah, I would say you have. Yeah.
Okay. What are we dealing with?
About 3 carts
3 carts. Like, are you talking about like?
for this shipment. It does vary depending on the nature of the thing, and you know, in this case, it's sort of a mixed bag. There's, you know, quite a number of arrows, but there are also some weapons. There's like a few crates of like very heavy crates of like ingots. For smithing and repairing and things like that. There's, you know, blades and hilts and different things like that.
Yep.
Both in pieces and also in whole. Spears, you know, there's like a bundle of spears. But basically it's about 3 carts of varied stuff, and they've done as many as, I would say, 6 carts in a shipment down to like 2. So it just depends on the shipment.
Okay.
Fun stuff. Okay.
And they are, you know, somewhat frequent. They break it up rather than doing huge orders. You know, because they're supplying a rebellion, so like even 3 carts is not much in the grand scheme of things. So they're broken up, and so that is one thing you'll have to be keeping in mind as you decide how many circle breakers to take with you on this particular outing. Is keeping in mind that whoever you take with them is going to be gone for weeks, you know, well, probably, I need to pull up those numbers again, you know, a couple months round trip.
There'll be another shipment in between.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a regular thing, and so it's like
It's better and better.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got 12 people to figure this out with. Sweet.
To supply an unknown number of rebels.
We need help.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to become a piece of someone's already established business, not set one up on our own.
Essentially, yeah. We don't have the resources, the know-how, nothing.
So so my opinion is we have 2 candidates that we can go speak to. We can either go speak to the elf that likes me the least, or we have not remade contact with the prince since we've been here. If either one of them know of somebody who is trading with Lirindil at all, that's the person we need to go speak with. And see if we can just send a few of our people with their shipments as extra guards and pay them a service fee to smuggle in with their legal products.
Adris wouldn't have already known about
Adris
These
had
contacts?
Adris.
Surely he would know. I mean,
His extent is only in Lirindil. He was very clear that we are the ones responsible for getting it through the ports.
I'm just saying he knew about Hethra. So, I mean, I feel like if there was anyone else,
I would have thought so as well.
which makes me think that there's not
So-
many options. If any.
We'll say, for the sake of brevity here, like if you continued to communicate with him, like essentially he just kind of gets notified. Like there's a system of people and contacts that kind of notify through system of signs and thieves' cant and different things like that to communicate. Here's the drop-off point. Here's when when and where this next place is going to come. They don't really know like how it's getting into the country. They just know where to go pick it up
There's no
once it gets there.
contact.
Yeah.
But sometimes there may or may not be contact per se, but there's no like, here's how our operation works. Here's how our smuggling operation works so that you can do it yourselves and cut us out. No, we're going to not tell you because we're going to charge you.
Yeah. So we are on our own, and we have no ability in Lirindil. We need somebody here that we can talk to that is already moving products, whatever they might be, into Lirindil.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I see that we can pull this off.
And what did we mentioned him last week?
Yeah, because I.
Dratherian, is that his name?
Dratherian Fallow.
Dallow, yeah.
Mhm.
Sarah doesn't know about him.
Could I try to like just recall where his operations are? Like if he's
Well, you
He's in Lirindil.
met
I didn't
him.
know if he went outside or whatever, but
Yeah, you initially met him at Fort Relica when you first entered the country.
Okay.
And he arranged with his organization there to get you in.
Mm-hmm.
You met him by proxy via a projection illusion in Garen across the other, way up on the other side of the nation, in the port that you exited from Garen to get to hire a ship. He's the one who referred you to the Hurricane Sisters as like a subcontract type situation. Like they're not odd boys, but they work with the odd boys.
Mm-hmm.
Any ideas?
I mean,
It seems like either we start our own operation or we get into some really nasty waters with some people.
We don't even know who those people are.
Yeah.
So
which way did we come in? Well, like with the prince, which way did we arrive into?
You came from the
Oh.
north,
Came from the north.
because you were up in the middle of the desert and kind of came down.
And we're exiting which way?
You're going to be heading west northwest.
Okay.
Because actually, I think I still have the map in the illustration screen here. If I can pull it up here.
What kind of operation does Sylvanos run? Because I know he owed the White Death a favor. He owed Adris a favor, and that has been paid off now, right? With basically our thing.
He's sketchy, but what kind of sketchy?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Is he our kind of sketchy, or?
You didn't really get into that. Like,
Yeah.
he had described himself as like kind of an information broker, and that's how he has claimed he has kind of made himself in Tir Ratha.
And we had to like give up something. We had to give up something to get information from him, right?
Our name, right?
Well,
I think when like
he
Bear and
wanted
I-
something, but then he remembered not to,
yeah, he owed.
that he owed Adris something. So
Yeah, and when Bear and I went and talked to him, I think there was some kind of like, I want something from you for this information we were trying to get. I don't remember what that was now, but
I forgot about him. We We could definitely go talk to him.
I think we might need to go talk to him.
Who'd you say?
Sylvanos. I think that's
That's the black.
The blue guy.
the
blue.
the Godfather.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
What did you say his
Get
name
it
was
fixed
again?
now. I'll get it fixed.
Sylvanos.
Yeah, that's probably much better.
If you want something, what's our offer?
Depends on how much information he can give us.
Yeah, so if it's helpful, if you're wanting to see, like, so Tir Ratha is right here. And you're basically going to have to, I think the measuring thing will,
I was going to ask,
right?
where's the port?
Right.
Yeah, 'cause
you're
the-
basically gonna have to kind of go up here, skirting the scaled mountains at one point. You're following the Prince's Highway, to that's what it's called, the Prince's Highway, to about here, which is where Tir is.
And we kind of
Basically, the southernmost major port on that side for Al Raqqa. Because any further north, then you're dealing with a lot of military and a lot of. The further north you get, the crazier, harder it gets because everybody's constantly at war. Because up here, this is Lirindil up here.
yeah. And there's a nice big border war going on.
Yeah, and so you are, just to remind you, if that's also helpful, you're looking at, it's about 31 days, give or take.
Just to get
Maybe,
to port?
depending, if the weather's good and all that kind of thing, could be a few days less. There's about a half a week variance there, but
To get back to Lirindil.
yeah, like basically from the port in Garin to Tir Ratha. Like, so that's one way. So you're looking at 62 days, 50 to 62 days, give or take, round trip.
Yep. And that's from Tir Ratha to port up to the port.
Yeah, now, you also know they've taken multiple routes, so not everyone would take the sea route. The land route is going to be different, but it's, the point is, it's a long journey. It's a long way.
Yep.
So you just got to be mindful of. So you talked about going to Sylvanos. You've talked about going to the Prince. You did talk about going back to Cithris and the Circle Breakers.
And we talked about reaching out to Drake Therian, even though I think that's like option Z if we can help it. That is the
Yes.
break glass in case of emergency. I think we start with Sylvanos. Move our way to Cithris if that doesn't work out. Yeah, I know. It's fantastic. He's a pleasure to deal with. I'm not even sure where we go. I mean, I don't think there's anything good after that.
No. There's not.
And they're not great to begin with. Sylvanos, let's start with him. We'll go there in the morning. You said it's at night now? Okay, late at night?
Evening
It's
time.
evening. It's
Okay.
like early evening.
Okay, no, let's go ahead and go
Let's go
now.
now.
Yeah. I was thinking it was night. No, let's go and see if we can get his attention and get some help.
Okay. All right, so making your way back to Sylvanos's place, kind of making an unannounced visit, you are kept for a couple hours, like waiting.
Sure.
He doesn't say no, but you are kept waiting as you see people filtering in and out, and just he's doing normal business, but. After a long wait, you are escorted back into that same room, which is now back to looking lit, and you see some of the same people, like some guards kind of standing around, that sort of thing, as you see Sylvanos himself. And if you give me a second, I'll pull
Going back up again.
back up again. give me a second, because it's been through a lot of illustrations.
It's been a couple months.
Just go through them all. Here we go.
There we go.
Okay. So as the three of you walk into this this room that has again been restored into it's still gloomy, it's still dark, but it's not that utterly oppressive pitch black darkness, like almost tangible darkness that was around Hadressa. You see him kind of riding almost.
Before we go in, I'm going to cast a spell on you. The Sora's not here. I'm going to cast Enhance Ability on you for your charisma checks. And just say, convince him.
To help us out.
Okay.
Sorry, continue.
Okay. So.
Does he look up, or is he just doing paperwork?
Yeah, you kind of get the impression he's kind of making notes or wrapping up whatever it was from the last thing. But finally, as you kind of stand there awkwardly and everything, as he continues writing, he doesn't look up immediately, and he's just... So you finally you find yourself in front of me again.
There's nowhere else we'd rather be when we're in need of information. And we know that you're the best around.
Well, flattery is not the kind of information that I'm interested in. But you are in a place of that sort of business. What is it you're seeking?
We're wondering if anybody here, anyone that you're aware of, is moving goods into, I said it 50 times. Lirindil. Whether above board or below.
It's a dangerous business. It's very risky. Neither country would appreciate that sort of business. But I am confused because I thought you came here seeking and apparently having some encounters with one of the main people doing that sort of business.
We did. And we have a new deal. And that deal is that we need to take care of our own shipping and receiving. And so...
It's a big operation.
It is, and I'll just lay all my cards out because there's no point in hiding anything from a man like you. We were hoping to find somebody with an already established trade route that would be willing to move some of our merchandise as well.
I suppose it depends. I mean, there's people who, would happy to do a deal with you, but trustworthy. You'd have to be the whip at their back every single step of the way, I think. Remember, this is not a place of civilized business.
No, and we do have people that would travel with the merchandise to make sure that our interests are assured. But I don't know.
I mean, I've heard rumors of some of the Alrakan generals being discontent. If you want to make a trip up north to the border, but that's just to have the conversation, because they probably wouldn't. I'm not a smuggler, but I wouldn't think they'd want to cross battle lines for a smuggling operation. I don't think that would work so well.
Sure.
They're gonna go a different direction. But you'd have to go up there to talk to one of them. There's always corruption in every, organization. But it's the right kind of corruption you need. It's not gonna stab you in the back, or you gotta make sure you have a lot of armor on your back.
So you're telling me there's no players making regular trips with goods to Lirindil?
You don't have any sort of contact in your back pocket for something like this?
I do know a captain who makes trips there.
That's a good start.
Yeah, I might know some people.
Does he work for any one party in particular, or does he just sell his services?
Yeah, he works for himself.
Where can we find him?
Well, he's sometimes sails in different ports, but he should be in, if you're lucky, Tir Ratha. That's probably where you want to be.
And what's his name?
That's a good question.
Anything he goes by?
Yeah.
What might this information cost us?
What can you offer in return?
Have this dagger.
Yeah.
You don't say that? Are you sure? That's not a bad idea. Trust your gut.
Screw him over if I don't say that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can say it if you want.
Well, we have many things, but I would prefer to know what your mood is today. Are you more interested in information? A scarce item, perhaps? Or money's always good?
I've always got a flexible mindset. There's all sorts of different things that are valuable. Information's the most useful, anything that's useful here in the city especially. But I'm flexible.
What are you thinking?
What would you say if I knew of a man of high importance that is here in this town?
Depends on how important.
Important enough that you're going to have to give me more than just a sailor's name.
Well, who is this? You gotta give me more to entice me.
Let's just say he's royalty.
You're saying a member of royalty here in the city.
I'm not saying anything at this point, but if we work out a deal, I feel that information, if I was willing to give it to you, is far more than just the captain's name.
I suppose it depends on the royalty.
let's just say you'd owe us more than you owe the white ghost.
I'm just saying.
White death. White death.
I'm just saying, if it's the king of Bloodpool, that doesn't really help me down here. Some, noble on vacation just doesn't really help me. My business is mostly here in the city.
He's local.
Well, Tir Ratha doesn't have royalty, no matter what the upper level people think of themselves.
I cast Read Thoughts on Stoic. I'm trying to make sure I know what he's talking about.
If you want to, you can make a save.
I won't even make the save. I'll let her read in this one.
Are you talking?
I'm talking Dash.
Okay, I didn't know if you were talking fake royalty or
No,
real royalty.
he's real
if you're gonna
royalty.
screw over Sithras because you hate him, I don't know.
No, I thought about it, but I'm like, that's not worth any money to this guy.
Yeah.
Dash is.
The identity of the Madassa?
Fuck
No.
yeah.
Wait, I thought the Madassa is Sithras.
That's
right?
Sithras, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking about Sithras. We're talking
No,
about.
I'm saying the identity of the leader of the Circle Breakers is not valuable.
Well, it is, but we need them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dash was kind of a long con in the future.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, but he is royalty, right?
He told us.
That's what he says.
Of Alraka.
I read him as well.
Tir Ratha, of Alraka.
Of Alraka.
But I know there's a lot of contentiousness there.
Uh-huh.
I read him and I'm like,
Yeah, that's fine. I figured.
put my head down a little bit.
Well, you may not think he's royalty, but he sure does. And to have Alraka royalty in your town and not know it doesn't bode highly of your skills.
That's a big city. Rock and royalty. It could be interesting. But, so there's... I have a hard time believing the Shakan himself is here.
I want to read thoughts on him.
I can try, sure.
Nice.
Okay, it's an 18, is that right?
This is 7. Wait, did it go up?
Oh, I don't know. I was asking. I don't remember.
This is 17.
17? Okay. That's a fail.
I really want to know specifically his thoughts and feelings about the royalty here. Like, I hate him, or I'm indifferent, or whatever's going on there.
Okay. So, surface level. Kind of takes you off guard for a second because of the pace of the just surface level thoughts. He is calculating, he is weighing a whole bunch of different things all at once. Like he is, to answer your question, you're getting these flashes that it's almost taking you, it's like you're kind of, it's like open mouth insert fire hose for a second, where it's like, you know, the current Shakan is Irithes is like much like most of his kind. You know, the prince is interesting, so that could be an interesting prospect. But he's not the only member of royalty. There's a couple of sisters that also could be, you know, interesting, but less so, just because they're involved in different things. And there's another son that stays lower on the radar, and so you could see him getting away and traveling pretty easily. There's, you know, he's just kind of going through all the, you know, this list, and like, okay, it could mean extended, you know, like extended family of the throne that are still quote unquote royalty, and a lot of them are useless, so I don't really know what I'm getting. some of them could be useful, some of them not. Not, you know, some of them useful in Alraka, but not Tir Ratha. Like, there's just it is. He is calculating at a very rapid pace of these different possibilities to weigh this proposed bargain, but he kind of just doesn't feel like he has enough info to know how valuable what he's getting is yet.
It's a little too much for me as far as what I just got.
Yeah, it's like a little. Oh, okay.
So I'll use my thoughts to cast suggestion on him. I just say, the heir to the throne. I'd love to hear your opinion.
Well, he's an unusual guy for the family, for royalty in general, I suppose. He's got some radical ideas, I think. You know, not always going to be popular, so it's going to be interesting to watch. If he, you know, some people when they're young, they have those sorts of ideas, and then it kind of, the world has a tendency of beating idealism out of you. But so it'd be interesting to see how much is able to stick around when, you know, his head starts hitting the stone of the world. You know what I mean? He does seem to be interested in this city for whatever reason. You know, which could be good for us. Though there are times in the city where that's not been a good thing, so.
What do you think the reason could be?
It depends on what kind of person he is, I suppose. He's, historically speaking, you know, every new Shakan has had a differing opinion on what to do with Tir Ratha and what sort of relationship we should have with the rest of Alraka, and so it's occasionally troublesome, where they want to come in and take more control. Some want nothing to do with us, which can make trade harder. You know, some are indifferent. It just depends on what his interest is, and, you know.
The information you have on these radical ideas of his, is that information that only you are privy to, or is that common knowledge?
Oh, I doubt it's exclusive to me. It's just rumors and word that's kind of going around, you know, some of the things he said and supposedly said, and, you know, that sort of thing, challenging his father's ideas and that sort of thing.
Could you be more specific?
Yeah, he got in trouble some time ago thinking that not all Lirindil is bad, which is not really an idea you want to say in most of Alraka, especially nobility. You gotta understand, a lot of Alraka is built around this war now. It's been in place for hundreds of years, so it's, you know, if the war were to stop, the economy of both sides would probably undergo some collapse of some sort. You know, it'd be a lot of people in power would lose power. There'd be a lot of change. A lot of new power rising up. It'd be chaotic. So the suggestion is sort of threatening to people in power, and he wasn't even suggesting ending it. It was more just, you know, I guess a little too open-minded for the rest of the Alrakan world.
Last question. Do you have any reason to believe that he would have any sort of communication with leadership in Lirindil?
The leadership? Oh. That would be interesting indeed. I mean, he from what I've understood, he seems cocky and, you know, idealistic, and, you know, but I've never I haven't seen that. Look, I mean, my information is not on him is not, incredibly detailed, but it's not been anything that's led me personally to believe that he'd be a traitor. But, cocky idealists on their own page sometimes. Get a weird idea, maybe he runs with it. Who can tell?
Kind of eye stoic. Basically, like, are you doing this?
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying the air is here? Dashrin.
I'm saying it could be. Then we could also offer a description of him and when he arrived and what his traveling party looks like. But we would need more than just the name of a captain.
What else are you looking for?
We need assurances.
Let me ask you this. How did you come on this information?
You gonna give me the source of all your information?
Well, I'm just saying, if you know the guy, that's different.
Our paths might have crossed.
You were friendly.
Acquaintances.
I ask because it seems like you're trying to set up business here, and I'd like to continue your business, doing business with you. But the information on him alone is really only valuable to people who want to kill him. But if someone like myself could meet him, there's all sorts of possibilities open up. And someone who's friendly with him could, possibly arrange something like that. And if you're friendly, I don't want to. Though it would not be me. I would not be directly aggressing against him. I am just the broker.
Do I believe him?
Yeah, he seems neutral in his own mind as far as I stick to my job. And, but again, you kind of get that flurry of calculations of what is possible for, being able to make some sort of contact or build a relationship with the prince, and just curiosity to see, try to discern what he's really about and what kind of opportunities might come as as opposed to that. And there is just the tiniest little flash of like, maybe that could be a key to doing business beyond Tir Ratha.
Tell you what. How does this sound? If we can orchestrate an introduction, in return, we would want any information that you can give us that would help us on our mission to move merchandise, which I understand is mainly just the captain's name. But if you do happen to have more information, that would be helpful. But you would also owe us one.
I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of undefined favors.
That's fair.
We'll say it would be for information only.
That could be the worst kind.
I just have an idea that moving all these goods, we may run into a snag later down that we might need some answers. And it would be helpful if we knew we could come to you for that.
Roll a persuasion check.
Advantage.
Mm-hmm.
24.
Yep.
Under one more condition. You tell the White Death I went above and beyond.
Done.
Yep. Can do that.
Alright. So for one piece of information in the future, if I can give it and the name of the captain, I can even give an introduction if you want, like a letter.
That would be perfect.
Yes, fantastic.
And you tell me where to find. You'll set a meeting.
Yes. We'll do more than just let you know. We will try to speak with him personally.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna wait
Yeah,
for this meeting to happen.
that's what we figured.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well,
Well, then we have a deal.
I look at you two.
Deal.
We have a deal. We will get on this right away because we are short on time.
Very good.
So hopefully
Looking forward to it.
you won't make the prince wait a few hours to speak with you. And then I leave. Still stoic, man. He's gotta can't let shit like that go.
You actually, I think you would, as you're exiting here, just sort of
Let's walk about that. Walking back, that's about as good as it could have gone.
I like him.
Yeah. He's got a code that he sticks to that. Like, you can appreciate that.
I know, for a keeper of information, he's quite open and honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
The opposite of the feeling I get from a dresser.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she's basically an information broker as well, but it's always
One-sided.
yeah, very
She
much,
knows, at least that's from my one interaction with her.
very much.
She knows everything about you, and you know nothing about her.
And I want to know so much more, but we're short on time here, guys.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea where Desh is?
No.
He didn't tell us where he was going to be when we came into the city, right?
No.
I thought you did it.
I thought he...
I thought he did too. I just don't.
Did he have like an open invitation? Like, hit me up?
Kind of.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we left on really good terms. But I don't... Let's see.
I figured I didn't write it up.
Yeah. I didn't write it either.
Either. Because he was coming in as a merchant in disguise,
Yeah.
and he told us what level he was going to be on, which I thought was the 7th, but I'm not positive.
It was going to be high up,
No idea.
Yeah.
I can send a message.
which we might have to do.
That, yes.
Let's just do that.
Let's just
Yep.
do that. We don't have time to play around. You want to think it out first, or are you just going to go?
Do you think he could meet us at the Sandy Boot?
We can give him the option.
I think we should ask him where he wants us.
Yeah.
We can get up levels.
Okay.
I'd rather go to him than make him come us.
Okay. I'll send her a message. Hi, Dash. It's Noah. Or Noah. I can't remember what That's fine. We would really like to meet up with you. Is there any way we could do that today?
6 words left.
We can come to you.
You got 1 word left.
Thanks.
Let's see. Okay, so after a moment, you hear, it is a pleasure to hear your voice again. If it is no, you can come to the Dream Exchange.
To the what?
Dream exchange.
Dream exchange.
And, sorry, I'm looking at. Sorry, I'm losing my notes here on the shirt. That level. Phantom Rose.
Or the Phantom Rose?
At the Phantom Rose.
At the Phantom Rose.
Mhm.
Okay, I relay that to you guys. He said that was now. You want to go for it?
Let's go.
Do we know what level that's on?
You have been told it's on the 5th level.
The 5th. Okay.
We haven't done much on the 5th level.
No.
All right, we will head there.
Okay. Okay. So you head out into the night. At this point, like dark.
Yeah.
Still busier streets as it's getting cold and kind of making that swing into the cold night, desert night. As you make your way down the street and make your way up to the next level, it takes a little longer. The guards seem to be a little more wary at night and a little more hard checking your passes, but they're still good. And so you eventually get in and are directed to the Dream Exchange. The Dream Exchange, to remind you, is a marketplace and a collection of buildings and businesses in a district. So it's sort of a mix of permanent buildings and open air booths. And as you go, you see, interestingly, here at night, it seems booming. Like, even though it's the middle of the night, there's just lots of, it's very well lit. Like, there's lights of, torchlight and lanterns and things like that, often shaded in different colors. There is all sorts of scents of incense and perfumes and all sorts of things kind of barraging you from every side. You're seeing vendors with all sorts of very nice, like, knickknacks and strange little dolls and jewelry and crystals of different kinds. And there's people approaching you with various substances of powders and plants and all sorts of things, offering you all sorts of experiences.
I miss easy.
There are people promising, magical experiences of various kinds, of, you know, living out your fantasy with a person, you know, person you've always loved in your heart. We could make that real, you know. Just lots of weird stuff. This is, you're getting, is a very experience-based market, if you will. It's very carnal. It's very hedonistic. But with a mix of like all these weird, just nice things occasionally, just like a shop with like really nice robes and things of that nature, just sort of mixed in, you know, sandwiched in between what looks like people high out of their mind when you can, as you can see through the window in a lounge area, as you know, in another one with people drinking, you know, these weird looking drinks of some sort. And you know, it's just a very eclectic, very odd place, but everyone there is just, you know, very leisurely strolling. This is sort of like high-end nightlife in a sense, in a very, very unique, very kind of full of character way. But after asking around, you eventually find yourself at a shop called the Phantom Rose, which also seems, just looking at it, seems to be another clothing shop. And outside you actually see, outside the door you actually see, trying to look nonchalant but not the most stealthy of people, one of the guards that you traveled with. You would go in?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll kind of wave to the guard on our way in.
Yeah, he kind of tilts his head curiously but nods and lets you in. You know, as you you know, make your way in, you see you know, a collection of wooden mannequins and what do they call it? They're not called mannequins when they don't have like the arms and legs.
They don't have arms and legs?
Like it's really like in real world, it's common in fashion to have like the it's like a torso with like a head, and they would use fashion people use it for.
They're made out of fabric.
Well, it's wooden, but it's like they put stuff on it for like tailoring and things of that nature. Yeah, I'm forgetting what I'm blanking on the name, but you see those types of things with, you know, different outfits on display and that sort of thing. And
It's called a tailor's mannequin.
oh, okay.
I think it's
I
just
thought there was a different name, but okay. Either way, you see Dash in there talking to what looks like an older, kind of very tan, like sun-worn human owner, or who you assume is the owner, with a kind of younger boy of kind of short, dark hair. You know, and you hear them talking as the guys, you know, kind of talking about the shop and that sort of thing, and talking about something about I don't know, it's coming in halfway, but you kind of get the impression there's some sort of thing that Dash is interested in regarding the boy, with something called half silk, and you don't know what that is, but yeah, he doesn't immediately engage with you when you walk in. So are you wanting to listen, or you want to talk to him?
We're gonna
I wanna
peruse.
listen.
Yeah, peruse.
Okay.
He sees us, right? Like,
That's
we're not.
a good question. No, he just seems like just very laid back, very, you know, himself, you know, that kind of confident, cocky air that he always has, and everything like that. Is he's, you know, kind of, there's some material laid out on the counter in front of him that he's kind of idly feeling as he chats with the owner, and you know, the owner is in the process of saying, like, but do need not pay attention to that sort of thing. It's probably not an idea that would work. And Dash is like, well, no, continue. And this is, the boy has it in his mind that there's some sort of way to weave in our rock and silk with regular fibers to strengthen the fabric itself, but maybe even make it a bit cooler, but less expensive, because you can use a lot more. You can make more shirts. And Dash is like, that is very interesting, actually. What you call these half silk? And the boy, he kind of looks at the boy, and the boy just sort of nods. And you'd guess this boy is mid-teens somewhere, you know, and says, the question I have though is, you know, how did you procure the silk, the Arakan silk? It's not cheap. The owner, he kind of looks, the boy looks nervously at the owner, and you know, the owner like seems to wrestle within himself for a second before giving the boy a nod, and the boy says, I keep a worm.
Oh.
And Dash said, Dash, like, you see him like kind of react a little bit. Is like, that is not a small thing. They're very difficult to keep and very dangerous. And the boy is like, yes, sir. And that is a skill in and of itself. Very, very interesting. Well, how much? The owner is like, for what? And he says, for the boy. And the owner says, well, listen, I will be honest, he is from nowhere, but his hands take to the loom like a spider, and so it would take two of his kind to replace the work that he does. And you know, and Dash says, I see, so what is the price? And the guy says, 75. And you know, the prince says, that is very high, you know, comparably. You say you need two? 50. After some haggling back and forth, they end up at 60. As you are busy processing, you know, 60 gold for a person, you see there's some of Desh's crew around the shop as well, who some of them kind of acknowledge you, and you see one of the servants, the short-haired, kind of feisty one, count out the money after the deal is struck, and it's not gold, it's silver.
I would have bought the kid for that. Does the worm come with him?
Well, they go on to negotiate the worm, which they end up settling for 600 gold.
Yeah, dude. He mentioned that worm. I instantly went murder hobo, because a long time ago, not Lirindil, before Lirindil, somebody offered us like an extraordinary amount of money if we ever got our hands on a worm. Like, I'm trying to remember who it was, but somebody offered like their firstborn if we could get them a worm. Back with Rashada or whatever. I can't remember his name.
You'd have to look through your notes.
Got my invisibility ring.
Tir Ratha?
Rashada, not Rashada.
Yeah.
That's how I associate it. Normally, normally it brings it to me.
Not the Mexican rice milk.
Yes.
But
It was back when we first met him. We were in dealings, and somebody offered us, like, when we first heard about Rock and Silk, they had mentioned that, like, it is a very, very well kept, prosecutable, like, thing to own one of those worms if you're outside of Araka. And, like, they offered us, I don't even remember how much, but it was a lot, dude.
Well, and you can judge from his reaction, they're apparently very difficult to keep. Like, so it's like, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember that. I think it was a while ago. Might have been Karandia. It was in Karandia.
So after they close this deal, he says, only one, well, we should speak of that. And he starts to talk more, but one of the servants walks up and just kind of demurely gets his attention and, kind of directs him to you guys. And he says, my friends, it is good to see you again.
It's good to see you too.
It is. How are you enjoying your stay in the city?
Well, and he kind of looks at the boys like, yeah, there are many interesting opportunities coming about.
Seems like you may have just stumbled upon a quite profitable one.
Yeah, potentially, and potentially for more than just me. But come walk with me and let us go see what I bought. And he beckons the boy, but gestures for the owner to stay put. And has you guys kind of walk with him as a couple of the guards kind of walk right behind you guys. And he says, so how has your stay been in this wonderful city?
Eventful.
Not great.
Terrible.
I'm assuming Asura's there with us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you haven't noticed, there's a few less of us than there used to be.
I see. Are you saying what I'm thinking you're saying?
Araka is a very dangerous, yes, and challenging place.
Aye, that it is, yes. It can be a very unforgiving place, this place above most. But I am very sorry to hear that. That is tragic news. And you see them walking, the boy is kind of walking back through the shop as you guys are talking and into like a little hallway.
But we've also had many successes and many good ventures
Excellent.
in our time. So, few lessons learned very hardly, but
Those can be the most valuable kind.
Actually, well, one, we wanted to see your smiling face, but we thought we might also have an opportunity for you.
Well, I am always interested in, hearing out opportunities.
Well, in our stay here, in our toils, we have learned that not everyone we meet in this city is trustworthy. But we've also met a few that are. And
That is a rare thing here.
it is. And that's why we thought we might bring it to your attention. Someone we've met is, I guess you could call him an information broker, who knows the ins and outs of this place very, very well. And I can't say he would never do wrong,
but I can say he'd never lie to you about it. Which is a trait that I find very endearing.
Well, and most useful in that sort of trade.
Yes. So, but he is extremely knowledgeable and trustworthy, like I said. So, we thought if you were interested, we would find a way to introduce you. Or introduce him to you. It may open more possibilities for good business in your stay.
Now you say this is one of the trustworthy ones.
Correct.
Very interesting. As you say that, the boy opens the door, and you see this sort of what looks like it was a room at one point, but the ceiling has like collapsed and just never repaired, and so it's like open air. But inside, you actually see this very kind of fine cage, this very large cage, and you see inside. You see what looks like an insect of some kind that looks like round, almost fully spherical segments, like connected almost like a string of beads, with each one having these little sharp legs that almost look like talons sticking out of them, leading up, to a pair of pincers in the front with these kind of interesting, like multicolored eyes, like a whole bunch of like faceted eyes that seem to shift in color in just the slightest bit of torchlight. And you hear this metallic like clinking as the 100 legs like clinking over the cage, as you see this thing, which is, the segments are probably about half a foot wide, and about
That's
6 foot long.
How big this dude is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you see it like crawling up around, like quickly up around the cage, and like, all over the place with this, this skittering metallic sound. And although you have no idea what a normal worm of this kind, would behave like, it, you would guess it seems irritated. Which the prince then comments on and says, what? He kind of looks at the boy as you're kind of mid-conversation, as you open this and take this in, and he's, what is going on with your friend? And the boy says, well, spring is finally coming, and it is when he would normally mate, but he has no mate. And the prince says, well, I can understand that. Well, we shall have to fix that. And he says, I think you're going to be very happy with this. And, just kind of like pats the boy on the top of the head. And he says, he kind of starts to walk around the cage, apparently talking to you and maybe even half to himself, as as it passes by, he just sort of idly runs some fingers on the edge of the cage, and he's like, you have no idea how many people have died over these creatures and for thousands of years. It is a creature born of blood, even if it does not know it. And it makes the clothes of the rich. There's a metaphor in there somewhere, I think. Maybe I'll write a poem.
Are you going into the fashion business?
Well, I don't know. As I said, I am open to opportunities and interesting things, and I think this boy has talent that is wasted in a place like this, and could have many more opportunities in the right circumstance, which is not this, I think. Yes, but I think he'll be very happy. But Well, if this half silk, he calls it, perhaps there are ways to improve it and make more durable clothing for more than just the rich, you know. Yeah, someone who. A Shakan who clothes the people. This is a good legacy, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. I think you have a keen eye.
Well, we shall see if there's... We shall see if there's anything to it, and if not, he will still be taken care of, but this is how many opportunities are found. As for this, I mean, the family has a number of these in the palace, so it is not interesting to me as much as it is to the boy.
Yes. Then he'll be.
Worst case, he becomes a man, he becomes able to help care for these. But he will have a good, interesting career.
What's his name? And I'll motion to the board.
I do not know. What is your name, boy? And the boy, who seems very intimidated by this whole crowd, is very clearly not socially well adjusted at all. Is just like, Fino.
Hi, Eno. Your worm's pretty cool.
Yes. He can be difficult, but he doesn't know any better. He's a worm.
Did you name him?
No, should I have?
It's up to you.
What would be a good name?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not the worm expert.
Well, the prince says, well, you have to think about it and come up with a good one. And, the boy just is like, yes, sir, yes, ma'am.
So what else have you learned or discovered on your vacation?
Well, he says, I've met some interesting people, for certain. This is 9 different worlds in one.
Have you met the Prince of Charming?
I have heard this name, but I have not personally met him. It is not my style of entertainment.
You're not missing much.
Oh, you know him?
Sora was very interested to catch a glimpse. And so we made our way up to the district, and I must say it was very undersold, or very oversold.
Well, I cannot imagine someone with a name like that delivering. I mean,
You're not wrong.
plus, what interest would that have of me? I am an actual prince. I'd like to think of myself as quite charming.
I just thought you might like to see what someone who has the gall to name himself Prince of Charming might act like.
Zenoa, with your passive perception, you notice at this last comment, the boy's eyes go, round.
Boy knows something.
No, the boy
Almost
seems to
said-
be reacting. Well, make an insight check.
Yeah.
I
no,
almost said he's vying for your title. I was like, I don't think this kid knows.
Yeah, no.
What is this? Perception?
Insight.
Oh, 20. No, I'm sorry, 18.
Okay. He seems to be reacting to Destrian's comment about being a prince.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I just let it go over the bridge. I was like... So...
Well,
Other than that, I can't say we've really met anyone else of interest. I mean, we did meet one of the nobles on the higher up. We kept our communication brief. But, they can be...
Is this the weapons dealer you told me of?
Yes, she's not very charismatic.
Well, she probably thinks herself as very.
Well, she's obviously not been around people of your stature.
Well, few have. But power is its own charisma, I suppose. Can be very persuasive.
Yeah, but few know the difference between fear and power. They confuse the two.
Well, fear is a kind of power.
It is, but it's fleeting.
And your business with her was reestablished.
To a degree.
Yeah. We got everything we wanted and more, but at a little higher of a cost. We are now on the...
We're in the aftermath, and that's why we're here with you.
Yeah, we're responsible for the shipping and receiving.
We find ourselves in the logistics game, and we have no contacts, no knowledge, nothing.
Yeah, his eyes. Yeah, he kind of glances at it, but his eyes kind of go back to the, the worm that's just kind of never stops moving and just crawling around this cage. Yeah, he kind of pauses for a second and then goes. And you see one of the other servants, the kind of older woman servant, come in and he says, "Please, the boy is part of our house now. Please make him feel at home." And the woman says yes, and beckons him over and ushers him out of the room. And
Before he goes, give me your chest.
Okay. I think it's in the bag of holding. Whoever's got that.
Okay. That's exactly what Sarah would do. I'm going to get the chest with the pastries and I'm going to kind of get down to Eno and pull it out and hand him one and just say, "It was really nice to meet you. Take care of yourself, okay?"
yes, you too, ma'am. He's like looking at you and also like at the prince constantly now, and like
I'm just like immediately back
very
off.
clearly nervous now,
Yeah.
and like
I'm trying not to freak him
petrified.
out. Yeah. I'm just,
And he like takes it and and you hear the prince say like, "Hey, let this be a lesson. Good things come from to those who work hard."
Sidebar, he does know that we're part of the rebellion, right?
Good.
I'm pretty sure we told him on the trip.
You did,
I think
Okay.
we did, yeah.
Okay. Just,
Yeah.
because you tried to persuade him to help.
we
I
did.
mean, he's
and that's-
talking very casually about arm stills, so.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure. I'm like, because there was a reason. I was like, we didn't go to him for help because I knew he didn't want to, and I couldn't remember how I knew he didn't want to.
Also, I meant to ask, Asura wasn't purple when you met her, right?
No, and I think she went back to her orange self, but she wasn't her either. So this orange tiefling is new.
Okay.
That happens.
She was the like older woman like at the time.
Oh, that's right.
It's like the
My mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like it's like the horse from Oz. It's just like a different color like every time.
We find ourselves in a bit of a situation where either if you have any way to assist us in that directly, we'd love to pursue that route. But otherwise, we have this other individual who might be willing to help us out.
That would be assisting us plenty.
Yes.
Now, what is it you are looking for from me? Precisely.
Well, we reached out to this individual who, by the way, I don't know if this means anything to you. We've already spoken to this individual and he is interested. So that would just require your action. But the reason we came to him to begin with was some information to get the goods back to Lirindil. If you have any sort of contacts.
And so we return to what your other friend was trying to persuade me of to help with the operation.
Sarah was trying to
Early, yeah, when we came into this, we're coming to the
trying
city.
to do her thing.
Yeah.
Are you asking him?
I think that was, yeah,
no.
it was Cody asking what
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit more indirectly helping in that regard. You would be helping us to get the goods to port and then to Lirindil.
Look, we don't want to complicate things for you.
No.
We just came here to ask if you would be interested to meet this individual.
If that's all you're willing to do, that's great. More than happy to leave it at that.
In our search to establish a way for us to get our goods back to Lirindil, we have had the opportunity to do business with this man once or twice, and in which we learned that he is very capable and very honest, and thought it might be a good asset or resource for you.
And he is involved in this operation.
No, he's just an information broker. But we
So you
needed-
wish for me to meet with him?
Yes. We figured it would be
But what is it that you want from me? What is it you wish for
from
me to do?
you. The only information our information broker could give us is the name of a captain who might possibly be willing to help us. But
Oh, I see. You do not want anything from me.
Just to meet
Well,
with this
Just to meet
Yeah,
individual.
just to-
Besides meeting with him.
Yes,
Yes.
that's it.
But if you did have any connections or know of someone who is already moving goods into Lirindil, that would be an avenue that would be helpful to us. Not saying that you assist us directly.
But I mean, I am very interested in meeting any interesting individual here in this city. I have been thinking every now and again about this proposal of helping the rebels. It's very interesting. It's stuck with me, but it's so difficult because of political
Yes.
ramifications. I mean, I could be killed or lose the throne if it were discovered. It's treason to help anyone from Lirindil, even though I am of the mind of it is really part of the war against Lirindil, if you really want to think about it. And perhaps I am charming enough to persuade people of such, but perhaps not. I have many things I want to do, and none of those things get done if my head is taken.
It does make it pretty difficult.
That is the
It is
last
quite
thing.
difficult to do things without a head.
Here's some information.
That is the last thing that we want as well. Like we said before, you know, if our side does come out on top, which it will, Lirindil is going to be a very different place. And I understand that the war has helped the economy of both countries. But I also know that prosperous trade helps an economy far greater. And so if you could trade one for the other, a little assistance to the new regime that's going to take over in Lirindil may be beneficial in the long run.
Well, I would certainly not complain if the people's army fell. If this people's king was no more. I mean, their unified decree has made it so that the worst of people can have power, and those people often find themselves on the battlefield against my people and are quite merciless. This Ruby Judge, before she left the border, built a reputation for leaving devastation in her wake.
Well, she is number one on our list to find when we return. I personally had a run-in with her.
Truly. What was she like?
Ruthless, manipulative.
I suppose one would have to be to build such a reputation.
She took a very dear friend of mine. Under protest. And I intend to get him back. And I'm sure the world will be a much better place without her in it.
You were losing many friends in this war, huh?
Wouldn't you agree, sir?
Losing friends to this war?
I was trying to see what kind of reaction you had to, like, I'm gonna kill the Ruby Judge.
Yeah. Well, this isn't, he knows this isn't the time to have that interaction. He's compartmentalizing what he needs to do.
But nothing. Can't read emotions.
I mean, if you want to do an insight check.
I want to do an insight check. I want to see.
You're so
because I was
insightful.
not anymore. I was expecting
Standing
you.
next to me.
Oh, I was expecting because I haven't heard you say anything but like kill the Ruby Judge.
Yeah. Well, and what
That one.
would you? I said, would you even know? You wouldn't even know that anything's changed in his
No,
mind.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
That's why I was expecting you to back me up.
Oh. Oh, you're not going to definitely not going to back you up either.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what I
no
was looking
suspicion,
for.
nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's a list of names I would like to see gone. I don't think this leader Tildwin is doing anybody any favors. Controlling the people, and General Cray is not someone who's been running circles around our general, so it's quite frustrating.
Have we heard that name?
I've heard
Right.
the names, but I don't know if we've met. We haven't met Tilbin, and we haven't met.
Tilbin's
You've
the creepy
seen
old
him.
man.
You've seen
That
Tildwin.
talks.
Yeah, we've seen him.
Oh, we've seen him. Okay.
He's the talker. He's the
basically-
mouth.
Yeah, he's the mouthpiece.
You saw he's
Oh.
the very tall, like
Creepy.
Yeah, not the
long-haired-
short, creepy clown
Always
guy.
riding with the Ruby
No,
Judge.
no. He was the guy with the Ruby Judge that you
Okay.
saw from the shack that you were hiding in as they executed, and then the
Yeah.
explosion happened, and they were still
Okay.
standing there. Yeah.
So far, everyone on your list is on ours. That makes me wonder why the rebellion is not allies to Raka.
Well, I mean, as I said, it's a tricky thing. Treason, if it's discovered.
It is. I'm not trying to push you in one way or another. It just seems like everything you want is what we want, and it's I don't feel that that's a new thing. I feel like the rebellion has always been on that side, so it just strikes me as odd, is all.
You know, you are going to have to make a choice at some point.
Well, yes.
We're offering you a small one by meeting this guy. Could be a catalyst for everything that Stoic talked about.
For more than one thing, roll a persuasion check.
Me?
Well, I guess either one of you, since you're doing the talking.
Better. Could he get advantage? Because I'm.
Do you still have the?
Don't you still have it?
Yeah.
Oh no, wait.
No.
That was a different conversation.
That was different.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was a different conversation.
Yep.
So advantage or no advantage?
Yeah, I'll say advantage. Yeah, you're helping. Like, tangibly.
Nat 20.
Okay.
So, 28.
Whew.
I think that's my persuasion. That's at least 8.
That's right, because your deception is the one that's like 12.
Deception is 12, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Now, meeting with this individual is, like I said, interesting. I'm here to meet interesting people and find out what sort of opportunities there are in this city. So that can certainly work.
Yeah. And all you're doing is agreeing to a conversation with them.
As for your operation, you have agreed to be to handle these deliveries yourselves, but I am only seeing 4 of you.
well, we have more trusted people, but it is not their expertise. We have a local group here that is willing to help us.
Do you?
Not really a group, more just a collection of individuals.
Yeah.
How did you meet these people?
Old friends of Asura.
Make a deception check.
I mean,
I mean,
you're great at deception. Let's go. Oh no.
I shouldn't roll the dice and just rolled a nat 20, because then it rolls a nat 1. So,
Well,
I mean, 13?
yeah.
Nice try.
Yeah.
My friend, we need to be honest with each other in this negotiation. I'm hurt that you would not be honest with me about these people that you supposedly know in one of the least trustworthy cities in the world. Have I not earned your trust from traveling with you before? I know what you are here for.
I was about to say, in for,
yeah. Might as
a
well.
penny, in for a pound.
Yep, we're trying to get something going here.
I wasn't being completely dishonest. They are friends. Well, some of them. Of the sortest. But their numbers have grown recently. Some of them are known as the Circle Breakers.
Well, now that is interesting.
Does his demeanor change at all?
Oh, he's very interested now.
Yeah.
Like,
Then you need to make a roll to get that.
yeah, no, I'll give that. That's very obvious.
Okay.
Just with passive insight, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Like, passive insight of nothing would almost nothing would. So you know these circle breakers. These are the ones working with you on this operation. You're just anti-establishment left and right, aren't you?
Yes.
I mean, technically, you're the establishment, and we like you.
Well, there are exceptions, of course, to every rule. But now that is a meeting I'd be very interested in having. Do you know this Madassa that they speak of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In for a penny, in for a pound. Yeah, we know them.
Matter of fact, we knew him long before he came to the city.
Truly.
And I can
He's not from
guarantee
Tir
you-
Ratha.
No,
No.
I can guarantee you that meeting is going to be much less appealing than the other we've got set up for you.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. My curiosity has not waned.
I mean, we might be able to work something out, but it will be near pointless.
Why would you say this? The
Well-
leader of these... The circle breakers are apparently doing something no one has been able to do yet. This is very interesting.
And they have. And they're about to do something they've never done before, as well as by helping transport our arms.
For one of the people they want to take down.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, now that I think about it, helping the rebels is helping the circle breakers, or helping the rebellion is helping the circle breakers. They are now one and the same.
He actually does laugh out loud as you see him processing this situation.
Like, I hadn't really thought about that before, but now, like, they're intertwined, like, permanently.
Yeah.
Now.
We've thought about that.
Well, I thought one affecting the other. I didn't really.
They're working for the enemy in a way. Like,
Yeah, they're tied to each other now. Like,
yep.
deeply.
I wish to meet this Madasa very badly. If I can do this, I will certainly meet with your friend. And like I said, who knows what sort of opportunities might come of this.
Larry's getting flashbacks of the Feywild right now.
I know. I'm like, this is all going to go badly. Well, then, better question. Do you wish to meet the Mustafa
Madasa.
Madasa as the Madasa?
Yes.
As
Because,
opposed to who?
well, just like you have your cover, the Madasa has theirs.
You are vomiting right now. You're just like doing everything.
I'm not going to say who it is. I'm just going to say we can arrange you to meet the person so you can at least know of them and what they're like. But
Well, I don't wish to meet the cup he drinks from. Of course, I want to
no,
meet the
I'm
person.
more mean. Do you want to meet him? I would think if you were introduced as the Mudasa, that would be the business and conversation that would be had of
Right.
that person in that standing. But if we were to have you meet them without them being the Mudasa,
What do you mean by that, Stoic?
Yes, you're very confusing, my friend.
okay, I'm saying we don't have to tell them that you're meeting them as the Madasa. We can just go introduce you to them as under their cover, and then you would get to meet the man and get a feel for him without it just being open air that you were aware of his secret. That's what I'm proposing and asking.
You can be very devious at sometimes, my friend.
Not sometimes.
We trust you.
Mm-hmm.
I like this idea. I like this clandestine role-playing idea. It is not bad. It's fun, if nothing else.
Okay. Because if that will suffice for you, that we can.
Well, but if it turns out to be interesting, where the conversation goes, we shall see.
We get you to the Madassa, and then you take on the original deal.
With this other individual.
Why do you keep pushing for him to meet? That's never been unquestionable. He has agreed to it from the moment we stepped in the room that he'll meet with Salvados.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
just-
that's. If you want to push for more.
I'm
No, she's pushed for the basic,
Sure,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm like he agreed to that before any of this stuff came up.
No,
like
the only way he's agreeing to it is if we arrange the meeting with Madassa.
Yeah,
That's the
just
only way he's
making
agreeing
sure.
with it.
I'm
It is.
pretty sure he agreed to it
He
before.
said he would do that first.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he agreed to it before we ever mentioned.
He said he's very interested in meeting interesting people. He never actually said, yes, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Now he's saying, let me
Yeah,
meet the
we
Madassa.
basically just gave him leverage to go.
Pretty
Okay,
much.
yeah, like, I'm aware of what happened because we kept putting like that was already a done deal.
No, it was not. Like right now, we have to arrange the Madassa meeting before
We do now.
Yeah.
That's the part. Never mind. All right. He was in before that was brought up. Was what I was saying.
Oh. He
Now
never,
that it's brought up, it's not. It's both.
he was always really. He danced around it.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah. No. There was no confirmation of willing to do it or
He wants
doing it.
He wants to meet interesting people. He didn't,
Well, this will be fun. Shall we go?
Give us a minute, and we will let you know.
What time is it?
It's like at this point, after waiting for hours for Salvados, then traveling and having this conversation, like it's getting later. I mean, it's probably, you guess, at least 10 or 11.
Yeah, we're getting close.
This
to
is the
midnight.
perfect time.
Yeah.
This is like happy hour.
I mean, normally I'd be yes, but he didn't really like us the last time we spoke to him, so we're gonna make sure that he's willing to do this thing.
We're just going. I'm not sending a message.
Okay.
Thank you. We're just gonna go, and we're gonna be like, hey, this is our friend Dash. Dash. This is our friend Charming.
Yeah, he doesn't
I'm
really
not
have a-
saying this out loud. This is our friend Charming.
He
Hello.
can't say no if I don't send a message. He can't say no. Just show up.
Yeah, I'm like 11 o'clock. They're all probably good and liquored. Like this is like primo
Okay.
party time.
Well, let's do it.
As long as he's at the Gilded Lily, or at least I think that's the name of it.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm pretty good, that's right.
I can't remember people's names for anything, but I remember every place.
The glazed lily of
Glazed
the
lily.
dream. Yeah.
That's why I don't remember that. That's
Yeah.
kind of gross. Like, I don't like it. Just feels weird saying it. It's like the word moist. It's like you just don't use it.
Okay.
Are you trying to see if he'd be there tonight?
Yeah, I'm checking a couple different things here.
Of course, he's got
So-
his.
Yeah. We showed him.
He's got his
Not a
schedule.
meeting I planned for. It's really interesting.
You're about to have an interaction with yourself.
Right?
Dude, this really is. This really is feeling like the whole Feywild.
I will only do this if you do this. I will only do this if you do this.
Like I'm just like, oh.
Let's not get to the very end and then shirk all of
Yeah,
it.
last time I made it all the way in and went, screw it, I'm done. And walked, like,
Ruined everything.
Uh-huh.
Lost your shadow. Made it enemy. Yeah.
We're going through with this.
oh yeah,
Yep. Oh yeah. No, it's
quite a
happening.
good time.
That's probably why Zeno is just putting everything in concrete.
Mm-hmm.
You do this, do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you are making your way to the 8th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so you see him, he leaves a servant behind to kind of handle, what to do with this worm and how to transfer it and safely and all that, and, warning that it's dangerous and needs to be securely, they just need to make arrangements and that sort of thing. And, then he departs. And, again, with your passive perception, so now you would notice what you didn't notice the first time across the street, because it's dark, but as you're exiting now and kind of getting a fuller view out, you see across the street from this place, kind of successfully, looking out of notice, is that black robed,
That's what I was gonna ask.
magician that was with you guys before. And as you guys start walking down the street, you see him, at a little bit of a distance, like following behind. Okay. So, as you guys make your way up with Desh and his guards and this magician and the short-haired servant is also with you guys.
That was the one that would spar with him, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm like,
The young girl.
yeah.
Yep, I have her name.
Yeah, let's say I was like, we knew her name. I thought I had
Yeah,
it.
I
but-
literally just had it. And Cerny.
Cerny.
And Azelis is the magic guy. Although I don't actually ever know if you really got his
No,
name, but
we didn't.
Oh well. Okay. So, actually, I think this would be a good time to take a break here. Before you make your way up there. So, very interesting. I had no idea what you guys were doing tonight or like where it was going to go. This
Neither
is
did we.
Really interesting. I'm excited to see how this goes here. So, okay, awesome. So we'll take a break and then come back in about 10 minutes
Yep.
and see how this goes.
Oh boy.
As you guys wrap up, arrangements here in Tir Ratha. So, we will be back.
Yep.
All right, welcome back. Hope you had a good break. So, as you guys make your way up to the, I always forget the name too. So
The glazed lily of the
Golden
dream. Yep,
Yeah.
there you go.
Lily of the Golden Dreams.
So, I don't want to make you have to talk to yourself in third person, but I don't know if I'm the best person to make introductions.
I can.
Okay. You're a liar. He doesn't like me.
Oh yeah, that's right, because the whole balance thing. Yeah.
I really don't care to do much other than to facilitate. Hi, this is him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dash on the way, will say well, since I'm in, undercover mode, I suppose I will stay quiet at first and let you speak with him, and
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
we'll see.
How would you, any particular way you'd like to be introduced? A title you'd like to be introduced as?
I'm a merchant.
You are a merchant. Okay.
Just as I did initially.
Sure.
Dash the merchant.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Merely a humble merchant looking for good opportunities.
Absolutely.
And I wonder why the humble merchant Dash is being introduced to him.
you wonder?
Mm-hmm. I know why the prince is, but why? Why is the humble merchant being brought before the Madassa?
Because everyone wants to meet his alter ego.
This charming prince?
Just say it.
Yes. The charming prince.
Hmm. Yeah, fair enough.
And fair warning, he's a bit strange. And he has known us for a long time. And
Some of us.
so our relationship is complicated.
I swear to you, the person you're about to meet is the Madassa.
Mhm.
May not seem like it.
Yeah.
Also, you're welcome to introduce. Man to man.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Are we at the glazed lily yet?
Okay. Yes. If you would like to be, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and let's get this over with.
He says panicked.
Yeah. We're good. I mean, Sarek's sentiments and Larry's sentiments kind of align in this instance. Not excited to talk to Cithras.
Are you okay? I mean, I can do
No,
it.
I'm fine. Yeah, no, Sarek's just like.
I'm
It's-
asking Sarah, because I know
Yeah.
I was asking.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I can do that.
Are you sure? You seem kind of twitchy about it.
I mean, this guy is a lot
Yeah.
to deal with. Yeah,
Yeah.
but let's do it.
Okay, I got
Yeah.
your back.
Okay. I'd really just say like, hey, this is Desh, and then like, let them talk it out, right? That's all I got really do.
All I care is I meet.
Okay,
That's all
yeah,
I care about.
I'm cool with that. I can do that.
Just sell him on our merchant friend is a lot of fun. And we know how much he likes to.
I'm trying to give off the same energy. They could be pals.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's our best sell, I think.
Oh, good. You want me to lie? Fantastic. This will go really well.
No, I'm not lying. I mean, I think they could,
I really do think that.
Yeah.
He's the funnest person we've met here. Like, actually,
Yeah.
the funnest person.
No,
we've met
that part's true. The other part, on the other side of that,
I mean, Citrus does kind of suck, but
Yeah.
they're kind of butts.
It may be a lie, but he'll never judge you for not using someone's real name.
Yeah.
Like, it's a sign of respect.
Yeah. Okay. Wherever we gotta go, whoever we gotta talk to get in to see the Prince of Charming.
All right. So, once again, you find yourself in this incredibly just luxurious establishment that's, softly lit outside and illuminated, and as you make your way through these kind of the kind of courtyard / garden entryway leading into the Glazed Lily, which is kind of empty at the moment. And you make your way in, and you see the concierge at the front, who again greets you, goes back, like has you wait in the area again. And
How
Yeah,
big?
can I get a drink?
when you enter, you may be served.
How big is Desh's entourage? Like, I know you said there's people with him. Is the magician like side by side?
There are 4 with him.
They're in
There's
there
the
with us.
2 guards, a servant, and the magician. Yeah, and he
So
does follow.
We're
you
like a
in.
group of 9 total.
Mhm.
Okay, I was just trying to get a feel for.
Rolling deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While you're waiting, Desh has a contentious discussion with his guards and about staying outside in the waiting room, and they are not happy, and he just is brushing them off. And he's like, well, Zealous will not be dissuaded, but he will be with me. It will be enough. But they are unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
But you wait for a little bit longer, and the concierge eventually comes back and is like, looks a little confused. She's like, I believe it is okay.
Oh, okay.
You may go.
Thank you.
Even the concierge is not sure.
So, you again make your way back, and he directs you to the kind of large central room that you had initially seen him, met him in. But you don't hear all the sounds of like partying that you heard before. It seems like, aside from some staff and servants that you see occasionally as you're walking through, like there doesn't seem to be any guests at the moment.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And as you enter the room, and you kind of enter in this maze of curtains and veils and things like that throughout this large room. You hear Cithrus's voice like going, "No, more of this, no more. I can't take any more of this. What is this crap? People do this every day? You call this work? I can't do it anymore." And you hear another voice. I don't know that you've heard this voice before, but so you wouldn't recognize him. Sounds like a little bit older, male tiefling, or at least native accent. Like, I understand, Medasa, but we must make the best of this as we can, and we must think through these things, and we must think of something. And you hear Cithrus going, "We've tried nothing. I'm out of ideas." Well, perhaps we can take it one at a time. Listen, we some of us have only learned to fight recently. We're learning, we're training, but we're not good at security. We must think of how to do this security thing that you've asked us to do. And you just hear Cithrus, "Just sneeze on your knuckles for poison damage. I don't know." At this time, you kind of, reach kind of pass through the final veil to end up in the kind of open area toward the back where they are, and you see Cithrus just sort of slumped down in his chair, like way back down, with just looking miserable. And though still gorgeous, still stunningly beautiful, not a hair out of place for what he is. It's a weird paradox of appearance. It's like his presence is still what it is, but he just looks miserable. And you see Storm apparently passed out next to a large half-empty, martini-style glass on a table again. Doesn't really look up or anything. It's, like I said, apparently passed out. You see this kind of older, charcoal-skinned tiefling sitting at with like this kind of low, large, round, circular kind of coffee table, if you will, in between a set of couches, in front of this this throne, for lack of a better word, with all these parchments and everything, and ink and things like that. It looks like this individual is trying to make plans or figure things out and trying to
Back to that drawing board.
I feel you, brother.
and like Cithrus is basically just kind of sitting there with his hand over his eyes at the moment as you enter, and one of a servant kind of enters in and is like, "Can I get you all the drinks?"
Yes.
And
Yes.
at this, like, Cithrus looks and he's like, "No, no, they get tea, and I want you to oversteep it, and I want you to scorch the water." And he waves her, and she bows and exits the room. Phew.
Hi.
Do you know what you've done to me?
Yes.
This is like a job.
Yeah. It can kind of relate to that right now. Yeah.
Can you?
A little bit.
Can you? I'm so glad you could relate to this. That makes me feel so much better.
See, you're showing empathy. That's
Yes.
really good.
Totally feel you're making me want to forsake all sorts of empathy ever, forever. One,
Sure. Well.
We brought a friend.
Mm-hmm. Much more interesting than us.
I don't know that I want to meet any more of you, anyone associated with you ever again.
It's a loose association.
You just.
I mean, he's right here, so
Yeah.
I don't really,
Point.
Sorry.
Right there.
Not sorry. But came to meet you. He's here now.
Yep. This is Dash. And
Oh, yes, great. Just bring in more people and interrupt this work that you have, these chains that you have put on me. Which is ironic considering what we're trying to do, or what we were trying to do, but now can't do because we now have jobs as security personnel.
So, quick question. His right-hand man called him I keep wanting to say Mufasa. Madasa. Thank you.
Madasa.
Like, it's stuck in my head. Madasa. But were we and the prince in hearing range?
Yes.
okay.
That's what I thought. So, okay. Because he's talking about his plans.
Yeah.
And his person said Madasa.
So we have nothing to hide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continue. I was just trying to verify.
Yeah, Dash, this is the Madasa.
Yep. Here you go.
I am pleased to meet someone of such renown, so many names of that are whispered in so many mouths with so many different opinions, but all of them in awe. Yeah, Sithrish still just kind of like slumped down, just kind of gives him this look, like this calculating look, and well, at least somebody's tongue isn't made out of rotten wood like this crowd.
We just thought you guys would really get along.
Mm-hmm. Hit it off.
Dash is a local merchant who's obviously, your lore has hit his ears. He's interested in what you're doing here. We told him we knew you. He'd come see you.
Yeah,
It's definitely at a bad time. I understand that.
do you?
I do, actually.
Yes.
It's not really a good time for any of us, anyone involved here.
Well, I'm glad that your horrific decision making is affecting more than just me.
If Asura's there, I'll just kind of give her a look.
Asura is just sort of like looking guilty, like she's keeping quiet,
Feeling bad.
wrestling internally, obviously. What in all the realms? What interest could you possibly think I have in a merchant? You trying to sell me something? I'm not buying toodles.
He's asking us that?
Mm-hmm.
Or Dash.
You're the one introducing and trying
Yeah.
to push the guy on him.
You like interesting people? He's an interesting guy.
Oh, yes, a merchant. I sell pots or whatever, socks or whatever it is. So interesting.
Oh. That's up to Dash on what he's willing to offer you, but
What's Dash's demeanor in the way that Siflis is talking about him right now?
He is
indifferent.
like this kind of small smile on his face, like just like taking in this person. And again, you can kind of see the wheels turning, and just like he kind of like just under his breath to you is like, you didn't tell me he was a fae.
Surprise.
We told you he's not local.
This is very not local. And he says, I am a unusual merchant. I'm a merchant of opportunities. I like learning, and I like seeing what sort of opportunities for business there are. I like meeting interesting people, and you seem very interesting, and I am very interested in your work. And I do not mean the kind of that is charming. And Sithris is like, and looks at you guys, he's like, yes, by all means. After everything that you've done for us, please just spill our secrets out into the world and just tell anyone. Tell anyone what we do. Tell anyone all that that we are doing. We're already working for somebody who probably very much wants us dead if they knew who we were. Just go ahead. Tell everyone. Yes, please.
Okay.
I liked the real vanilla better.
Now here's a pretty good guy.
It's done. We told him.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't tell everyone, but he's a decent guy we can trust.
Maybe if you got a chance to get to know him a little bit better. But by all means, just shout more obscenities and insults and waste the night away.
Well, first of all, I don't need your permission. I certainly will. He then proceeds for about 5 minutes to continue yelling and complaining about every single thing, a lot of it not even related to any of this.
Mm-hmm. Has our overburnt, oversteeped tea come yet?
Yes,
Yeah,
like as
just-
he's in this rant, like
Yeah.
you are handed this extremely bitter, cheap, horrible tea.
Just knock it back.
Yeah, it is. And it's got this weird, tangy aftertaste that is just sticking with you and is not, like, pleasant. And, and he's just going on about sand and how horrible sand is. And, like, just,
Uh-huh.
how the food is
course.
inconsistent here. And, like, he doesn't have any idea. Like, the higher you go, the better it is. And he's like, why didn't the people on lower elevations understand how to make good food? And like,
I think while he's doing all this, it's like, because when the girl comes back with our drinks, I'm like, hey, what you want a drink too?
Yeah,
No, what do you want?
whatever. I
Okay.
don't care.
Hey, can you bring us something strong? Very strong.
She kind of looks at Sithris as he's in this rant, and she's like, I apologize. I must work for him.
Okay. Oh, this could be a long night.
And for the first time, when he's going off about the sand and about the food, you see Stoic finally sitting at the edge of his seat going,
Yeah.
he doesn't agree with him on much. But when he starts complaining about shit, Stoic's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he starts branching out from the desert, and just like all of the material realm and all the nonsense of it that he sees is a lot of it's just normal stuff, but like again complaining about the sun and the moon shifting places all the time, and how can you keep track, and night and day is not it's always changing, and like how do you even know what direction you're going because the sun's always moving. Just all this kinds of stuff, and
There's like a couch or a sofa or something like that around here, isn't there? Because this was where the...
yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Oh yeah, let's go have a seat. Just gonna go sit and lounge.
I'm gonna try to inject myself into the screaming cursing.
As he's doing that, he's just like, and you just can't find any sort of decent vanity set here. It's just amazing. Not that I really use one or need one, but I feel like you should be able to find one here, and I have not been able to find... Wait, that gives me an idea. Jagen, and he talks to the tiefling, he's like, can we get a hold of any unused mirrors? And Jagen just looks confused for a second. He's like, I thought not, never mind.
Cithras,
What?
I need you to understand that we wouldn't even be here ourselves alone with this guy if we didn't think that your meeting him could be mutually beneficial, okay? He's interested in what the Circle Breakers do. In a good way, trust me. And I think you guys should have a conversation about what we all can work out. We all need help. We've reached out to our trustworthy contacts here. He's one of them to make this happen.
Oh. Your trust is obviously of the highest importance to me and definitely persuasive to make me want to listen to this. I want you to make a persuasion check with disadvantage. Actually, I think Jagen would speak up at this point and kind of go, I think it is worth listening. I think we should always keep our, our minds open for ideas. Perhaps there's a way they can lighten your load.
Jagen's looking for anything too.
Yeah, and he's like, yes. He's like, Jagen is looking very, you don't really know him, but he looks stressed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's like, perhaps this individual could lighten your load for you, make this easier to do. And so go ahead and roll straight roll, like with Jagen's help.
What is this? Persuasion?
Mhm.
11.
11. Just tell me why I should listen to him. I don't care what he's selling. I don't care about it just because you met some random shopkeep and decided to tell us all our secrets.
Turn to Dash. Can we just be on the level with him and tell him who you really are?
Dash, kind of looks at you. He's still got this kind of small,
Yeah.
kind of half grin on his face, just seems to be amused by everything he's seeing here and just curious still, and he just shrugs.
I'm going to take that as a yes. And I turn back to Cithras and say, this is no simple shopkeep. This is no simple merchant. This is the heir to the Alroccan throne.
You see Jagen sit up straight suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cithras is like, I am not going to believe your lies even if you're telling the truth.
Sure.
You're still the fake one.
Okay. If I'm real, I'll go ahead and back him up with what he said. You don't have to trust me. Well, I guess
That's
I'm
actually a
going
good
to.
point. You've never actually proven that you're real.
What can I do to fix that for you?
He kind of narrows his eyes and he gets up and walks over to you and pokes your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that proximity to him makes you despite the circumstances, there's still a little bit of a heart skipping a beat kind of moment. And he pokes you and he's like, okay, fine.
Great. Okay, now that we've got that cleared up, maybe you've regained a little trust on my part. He's right. Heir to the throne. This guy.
At a what throne again?
The Alroccan one.
What's that?
Where we are right now.
Alrock
Is that where we are?
Alrock is the
Yes,
country
correct.
we are in, yes.
That's where we are.
I thought this was teary-eyed something.
Within.
That's
yeah.
the city, yep. the city within the country. Another one of those confusing things we do here is we have like labels with outside of labels for things.
Yes, another stupid thing. Yes, that, about that. And, he starts to launch again, but Dash actually interrupts and he says, I must admit I've never met a Fae. I'm very, very honored to meet someone of your kind, and obviously someone so capable to operate in these circles. And to accomplish what you have, you must have great abilities, or great negotiating abilities, or maybe both. Maybe great powers. I don't know. I'm very intrigued to learn more about you. And Sithrish is like, kind of, mid finger, and just kind of like looks at it. You could learn a thing or two about flattery from this, gentleman, this pot-selling prince.
I've been trying.
And Yegan sort of like whispers, like, if he is the prince, perhaps he could help. Like, are you here to help? And the prince says, I'm here to explore opportunities. Like I said, it's a very interesting work that you're doing here, and I am not completely, I don't think I could be a member, so to speak, but I am not completely unsympathetic to your cause either, considering how Tir Rathans tend to treat their slaves. It's not something I appreciate. Perhaps, and you found yourself in quite the predicament, I understand. Sithris is like, I don't know what that word is, but they have screwed us. They have screwed us so badly that I really can't go into detail as to how bad it is. But it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so the prince says, this is very interesting. I am curious to you guys as well. As an outsider, I value people's opinions outside of my own world, so to speak, because I can, I am capable of thinking through and calculating implications for what I know. But as an outsider, what do you think I should do here? What do you think our relationship should be? This lovely Fae and I.
That's hard because I want to be very selfish in this instance and say whatever will help us out. But I mean, you've referenced or alluded to some of your ideas for this country, and they don't seem to align with the way that things are within the city. It might be a good idea, it might be beneficial to, if not directly, indirectly involve yourself in their matters of the circle breakers. Aid them in their mission, their cause.
And he says, and he turns to like Sithris and Yegan and says, and you wish for aid. You wish for help. You do not think you have this under control? And Cithra says, do I look like someone who has this sort of thing under control? I'm not even interested in controlling it. This is not anything I guess I did agree to it, but it was under extreme duress. I was being tortured at the time. I was being lied to and manipulated and seduced and all sorts of things. It was sort of impressive in its own way, but it was
I'll get that sugar.
awful.
I think one or two of those things are right.
Yeah.
Not the seduction part.
Maybe. I mean, he seduced someone earlier. Like,
Sort of.
Yeah.
And Yagan sort of like looks at Sithers for a second before just kind of going, yes, we need help. I will not lie to you. We are far too small for this operation. Any help we can get would be appreciated. I just don't know what we could promise in return. Well, Dash says, he just kind of like looks at everyone, looks everyone over, and he says, well, listen, I have a confession to make. I just wanted to see where this goes. I told you I had met other interesting people. And, well, this afternoon, had an unexpected meeting with a very, very intimidating woman. Who, we struck a bargain.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Remember what you said?
I
when-
remember
when
what
Sarah
I
left
asked
the
for.
room? Yeah.
I remember what I asked
Wait,
for.
what?
Oh, you guys don't know.
Yeah. It's in their private meeting, apparently.
What a tangled web.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I don't even remember what I promised.
That sounds very stoic.
I'm sure I'll find out later.
On brand.
Because I did make a deal.
Yep. Still on brand.
Oh, was this the no Asura in the room?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think you know her very well, from what I understand. And I understand even our Nadasa friend knows him. And Sithers like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't think any woman's intimidating me. And the prince says, oh, even one known as Hadrasa. And he goes, no, she is.
I want to see his face so
Yeah.
bad. Like, oh.
Oh, that stupid woman. Oh my goodness, Oh, you know what would be fun to this? Maybe if you went to Tir Ratha, your little city planet called Tir Ratha in Araka, that would be fun. You could cause some chaos there. You could do, there's all sorts of fun. You could have tricking devils and that sort of thing. That's exactly what she sounded like too.
That's what she told you?
The gist of it, sort of. Like, she led me to believe that it would be a fun place to visit, which she was right. Until now, it's not fun anymore.
We didn't know that. You know that.
Maybe just I knew that. I was
Yeah.
like, I feel like I already knew that.
That he
I
came
did
here
not
at
know
the
that.
You
behest
knew
of.
it after that meeting, like after your...
Okay.
Yeah,
I
so
did find out.
that is news to us.
Yeah, no, she's she's, yes.
That's one of the first things that I have agreed with you on completely. Yes.
Isn't she, like, terrifying? Like,
Yes.
nightmare-inducing? Oh. You should see some of the names the Queen of Winter gave her. Anyway. What were we talking about?
You and Dash were.
I just see those silver eyes now, and I can't.
Yeah. You
After
can't unsee
the
those.
mention of her name, I'm like curled up in myself again.
Yeah.
Sounds like Dash was about to
Help.
reveal his intentions.
Who's Dash?
The merchant.
Oh, yes, the Pot Prince.
Yes.
Got it.
Yep.
And, Dash is, again, just still sort of this half-amused smirk on his face as he's just like, well, listen, I cannot be directly involved. It is too messy.
Mm-hmm.
It's too messy. Not me or my people. But money is procured a variety of ways. Who knows where it came from, especially in a place like this. Serious money is never made from places that are not questionable. So perhaps that is a way that can, if money were supplied, I'm certain, and he looks at Yagan and is like, I'm certain that is a way that could help with hired hands and that sort of thing. Though I would recommend hiring outside of this city. And Yagan is like, it is a large operation. We would need, hired hands are not, and the prince goes, perhaps 1,000 gold to start.
Yeah.
Yagan just stops.
Uh-huh.
That would be incredibly helpful. We would have to learn about hiring those types of people. We don't know that sort of thing. We don't know how to. We would have to learn still. There would be a lot to organize, but yes, that would save many lives, potentially. And Dash says, well, and as it happens, it seems that single deposits like this will only go so far, and it seems like the circle breakers might want to continue operations and maybe have the bandwidth to do more than simple security work that these people have put on you. So perhaps you will want to establish some sort of mercantile operation of your own. I seem to have come into some interesting opportunities around clothing making that might be of interest to you. And Jaeger's like, we are willing to learn. And you just see Dash smile. He's like, excellent. Then perhaps we can strike some very interesting deals here. I think this would be a very interesting thing to watch unfold.
So we just helped him get a workforce.
He's funding a rebellion now.
No, well, kind of. He's
Different rebellion.
Yeah, different rebellion. Not our rebellion.
yeah, but that still doesn't help.
It's
He's
connected.
sort of funding both.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But that still doesn't help us.
Not in the immediate.
No,
yeah.
not in the immediate. It does fulfill my conversation.
Yes, this immediate trip is not really
Yeah.
something that can happen quickly, but it's like you're like that quickly, but the long term
Yes.
Which is what
is
I
looking
was-
better.
Yeah. Oh, that's going. They're going to be able to get more bigger numbers. They're going to learn how to do the thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like so. many
Thanks
mixed
apparently to
emotions.
Hydressa, which would be very curious to you guys.
Yep.
So many mixed emotions.
I know that didn't come cheap. Kevin played Valent, who made a deal with Hadressa for something that never came to fruition. That is not a cheap ask.
That was a fast fix.
She already told you she had. Well,
Yeah. I got it. I'm just.
I'm very happy to hear that this seems like it's going to be beneficial for all parties involved. Not to rush you, because I know there will be, logistical things to figure out with that, but we still have some immediate needs that we are pursuing.
well, I mean, this sort of money is going to take time to procure, and of course, hiring outside of this town.
Absolutely.
It's an operation like this is probably not going to happen overnight, as they say.
Absolutely.
But they will have what they need, in as quick a time as I can get it.
And that is, we are really appreciative of that. We still need to get.
He's still gonna help us with Sylvanas.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to push to
Okay.
get to that point right now. Yeah. No, I'm trying to do it like now.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's not like he's not agreed to do it. I was like, okay, we've done one thing, now let's.
You want to go tonight?
Yeah, basically, because we were told like, you need to get out of the city.
Yeah.
Like, so it's sitting on the back of Sarek's mind like, we need to get out of the city.
Rome wasn't built in a day, my friend, and we are basically trying to build Rome. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
No,
you,
that part's
Dash.
great.
Thank you.
It is a pleasure to help when I can.
Yeah, it's been.
And so you actually hear Sithers go, with these people, it's really not. It is really not a pleasure to help them. I can tell you. This is going to end very poorly for you. You're going to hate it. And Yagan sort of looks at him and he's like, I mean, thank you. Thank you very much for the help, for whatever it is you're doing for us and everything. Yes, yes, thank you. Thank you for helping us, not them.
I look at Dash. Did that meeting, is it all you hoped it would be?
Perhaps more.
Good.
So why don't you get some sleep?
I'm a fae, I don't really sleep.
Well, you can step away from the
Really?
work. Take a break.
You don't sleep at all?
Fae don't sleep, neither do elves. Like, have you ever met anyone who's not human or troll?
I mean, I know elves, but I didn't exactly hang out with them when it was time to go to bed. I don't know.
Well, you really ought to. They can be fun.
I'll keep that in mind.
I mean, it might get a little creepy trying to watch them, in their trance, but maybe not as creepy as watching someone sleep. But I wouldn't know, because if anyone's ever watched me, I've been asleep for it, so...
So you were asleep?
Well, no, I suppose I was in a trance. So I guess I doubly wouldn't know.
Right.
Yes, that math works.
Okay.
Do you sleep?
Yeah.
What a waste of time. Why?
What do you do during your trance?
Well, it depends. Well, ideally, you'd have pleasant dreams or visions, or if feeling so inclined, might sort of travel a bit.
That's interesting. I mean, the dreams part, we dream when we sleep. That's kind of part of the deal.
Oh, perfect.
Traveling thing sounds interesting, though.
Well, you traveled don't you? Like maybe you should leave this city if you've never traveled before. Just get out more.
Traveling
You
in
don't
a
have to.
trance.
You don't. Yes, you don't have to be in a trance to travel. You can do it. Oh, wait, you can do it right now. You could leave.
I appreciate the encouragement. Not what I meant, but okay. I'm done with this.
Yeah, I think we can go.
Yep.
Yegan, can I speak with you privately before we leave?
Yes, of course.
I will look for somewhere private if he does not take me somewhere
Yeah,
private.
he'll step out of the room with you and leave you guys as Desh starts to talk with Cithras here and there, and he does not seem. He just seems curious. Like he doesn't seem flustered by Cithras. He just seems intrigued. And Cithras is just Cithras, So you guys step aside.
Yeah. Yegan, is that going to help you out, our new friend?
Well, it does not solve all our problems, but it is it gives us hope.
Good.
I don't think we would have survived.
No.
I don't think the Circle Breakers would have existed for very long.
No, and we...
Despite how powerful and capable the Madassa is, it is just a big, big operation.
It is, and we're good at finding the right people for certain things, and we want you to succeed, which is why we're helping. But we could use some help too. In your researching, do you think you're capable of lining up a caravan or the wagons and people to escort those weapons to the port? I know it's a very long trip.
Well, I think some of us are going to have to go for certain.
I agree, and we'll go with you on this first one, so you don't have to send as many people.
Good.
But we spent most of our time working on long-term solutions. Just like now we're spending our time trying to work on the solution of getting it from the port to Lirindil. But to be quite honest, we don't have the local resources or the time to set up the wagons and the people to escort it.
That is easy enough. There are many that travel.
Can we depend on you for that part?
Yes. Yes, I will make sure it is arranged.
Okay. You know where we're staying, correct?
Yes.
Just send us a message.
Misa knows where to find you.
Send us a message when and where and when the shipment will be leaving. And we're going to spend our time making sure that we have some way to get it out of that port. You know we're going with, so send the minimum that you think will be required, because you're going to have more things to do once we leave.
Well, the return journey will be much easier because there's nothing to...
It will, but we need at least one person from Circle Breakers that we can make introductions to the captain, and they can see how we continue to move the goods, and that they can report that back to you.
I see.
So when choosing who you're going to send, keep that in mind.
All right, I will send someone capable.
Thank you. And like I said, just send us a message when it's ready. We're going to keep working on how we're going to get it into Lirindil. And hopefully this works out the best for all of us. Thank you.
He actually takes your hand and is like, thank you. This is not something we are prepared for, but thank you for this help, and The others may not see it, but this, what just happened, could lead to more success here.
That's what we're hoping for.
So I will thank you, even if not everyone else will.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, let's go and
And I'll go back inside.
yeah, you guys head back in. So, anything else you would like to do there before?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, we'll go back and get the stiff drink at the hotel just to.
Yeah, so do we want to meet up with Sylvanas in the morning? Or do we want to try and do it tonight?
I'm okay with going tonight.
Yeah.
What's ask Dash?
Are you okay having one more meeting tonight?
Yeah, why not?
Chill, dude. I like it.
This has
Alright.
been one of the most interesting nights in years.
Yeah, that tends to happen to us. It's not always good interesting, but it's interesting.
Yeah, perhaps I should follow you around.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah. Would not complain.
Alas, if only I could. Even I have limits.
Our
Of course.
Scorpions would be a far better journey to move our goods to the
Mhm.
port.
All right, shall we go?
Yes, and so we go back and head towards Sylvanos.
Okay. So you guys exit without further ado.
Yeah.
You know, as Yagan is talking to Cethris, kind of distracting him, I guess.
Mhm.
You know, inadvertently, you guys slip out with the rest of the retinue, and make your way all the way down to the cleric's end. And you are not made to wait this time, but you're also not allowed inside, as Dash is brought in with Azelis, and you sit there for a little bit as they.
That's fine. I will explain to them my conversation with
Yeah.
Yagan
Hmm.
while we're waiting, and just let them know that part's
Okay.
covered.
Good. Gotta start.
Yeah.
I like
So, as you, after a while, he comes back and says, "All right, thank you for that introduction. He's a very interesting guy. We'll see.
Yeah, that
I am
is.
to give you this," and he hands you a parchment. You unfold it, and it does seem to be a letter of introduction to a Captain Othrian.
Well, this has been a pleasant evening compared to how the day kind of started.
Thanks to you.
Yes,
Thank you.
very much thanks to you.
And I do like making things pleasant for people that I like. That's good. It's pleasant for me too, of course. Very interesting.
Mm.
And I trust and appreciate your keen eye, and so I am curious on what your opinion of Sylvanas was.
Sylvanas? It seems, I've met the type before, although admittedly at a much higher class of social standing, if you will. But the type who tries to play in the middle, if you will, and keep themselves out of trouble by being a sort of funnel for all the other trouble to flow through. You know, it's seems the type whose business would not succeed without being able to keep deals. that does not mean he will tell you every deal he has,
No.
or every bit of information he has, or withholds. But it can be, his type of person can be very useful in the right hands who understands what they're dealing with.
Well, it's about the same read I got, so it's just nice to hear your opinion on it.
As I said, I would trust no one, but like I said, many people are useful in many ways. I would say much the same of your Fae friend.
You don't have to explain that to me. I just start to
But-
rub my feet.
You okay?
Such a
So-
person,
Yeah.
it does not surprise me. Such a person, you would need something so different from anything anyone has encountered here to accomplish what he has. And I am very interested. I'm looking forward to learning more about how he has succeeded so well here. If he is indeed powerful, but powerful Fae can also be useful. Useful friends to have if you do not offend them.
Well, if you figure out how he does the things he does, I'd like to be the first one to know. Because I can't figure it out.
Seems like you're already in his good graces.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to stay that way. We shall see. It's very interesting night.
Speaking of which, I think we might need to get some rest.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Thank you so much for
Everything, really.
everything.
Yes. And you may also thank your companion.
I'm sure that time will come.
Very well. Then for now, I bid you adieu. And if you ever find yourself in Tir Ratha, feel free to visit the palace.
Tir Ratha.
I'm always... That's the capital.
Yeah.
You would know. Yeah, you would. You're very interesting people. And I'm always interested in what's interesting.
Well, we don't plan on stopping being interesting, that's for sure.
Excellent.
If you keep your ears to the ground, I'm sure you'll hear more about us.
We'll keep in
Natasha?
touch.
Excellent. I hope so.
Have a good evening
And to you.
and safe travels.
So he parts company from you, and disappears into the night, heading back to wherever he's staying. And you head back to the Sandy Boot, I assume.
Yep. That went surprisingly well. Like it seemed smoother than I know. Using smooth when dealing with Sithras is kind of a. Those two things don't mix together, but considering how this day started.
Look, if you couldn't tell, there was a common thread throughout the day, which is why it ran smoothly and good. Adressa has that way when she decides to poke around. Things seem to run smoothly without you really understanding why or how. It's one of the things that irritates me the most about her. Because she can basically claim to be responsible for anything good that happens to you, and you can't disprove it. She can also be the one that claims
why anything bad happens to you, and you can't disprove it, which makes her very difficult.
No, she works in the shadows.
Yeah.
But seemingly knows everything about you.
Or pretends to.
Yeah.
That's the rub, right?
That's the
Because-
feeling, that's the sense.
Yeah.
And you guys have been working for her this entire time.
I prefer to think with.
That's not even the way she phrased it.
How did she phrase it exactly?
Pretty sure she said that you've been working for her.
God, I was so here. It's like some of us.
I mean, she is technically here with you. I can try to.
I would just look at her and be like, "Well, some of us." But
We did work for her at first, and then we sort of met her boss, and we sort of worked for him as well.
Who?
Lirindil, the person that we talk to occasionally through his book.
He's her boss.
I don't think I mentioned that in front of him yet.
Oh, I thought you guys had come very clean with him.
I think you've been intentionally not mentioning the
I've been
name.
intentionally not mentioning the name.
At least the name.
Yeah.
I think
He knows
you've
that
been-
I'm talking to somebody, but like,
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to be responsible for Asura slipping something.
yeah,
out.
that's why I point that out, because I'm like,
We could say the guy that you're talking to.
yeah, we could just say her boss, because that's how I've been referring to the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I know about is Arthurian and the Celestarium. That's
Yeah.
about the only information I really have from that.
The leader of the Eldrin.
Okay.
So, like I said, I prefer to think of it as with. We are all striving for the same goal.
What did she say to you?
Well, that is going to be a conversation. I mean, you guys haven't really gotten to know me very well.
And she has?
Oh, actually, now that I think about it, I think I was so nervous around her that I just like backstory vomited to her. Like, she made me feel like she kind of knew already, and so I just kind of came out with it. Yeah. So I actually don't know if she knew anything about me or not. Now she does.
That's the rub.
Yeah.
Moving forward, you need to be aware of that. 'cause
Yeah.
She's very good at that.
Oh no, she's intense. She those eyes, like I will have nightmares about those eyes. It's a magic hat. No. I mean, we can get into a little bit more of this later, but we will also have to have discussions because you're the point of contact. You've got a way to communicate with Hadressa. It's through the book, right? That's what she said. Because I was told to contact or talk with Stoic whenever I heard from my patron.
Well, that she has ways of getting information relayed. And,
Okay.
and it was not directly that,
Okay.
like.
Yeah, I can't talk directly to her, but I can get information to her.
Yeah, because I was told to talk to you specifically.
Yeah. Because of that.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to work together because she's going to need information that I can periodically get, I guess. And she said that you're the one to talk to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I can relay information to her. And, Sarah, just so you know, we want to know about you and about your past.
Mm-hmm.
We just...
Don't ask questions?
Yeah, because all of us have kind of had
rough backgrounds, and they come out eventually, but no one's ever going to try and drag it out of you.
Yeah.
But you should know that it's not because we don't care. Because we do.
Well, we don't really know each other that well. So
Yeah.
it's
But that is how we get to know each other.
that's fair.
Still here.
Huh?
Wait, is Dash still? Oh, sorry.
Dash is here. He never left us.
Here.
All the same accent. Yeah, it's...
No,
Yeah.
you're a member of this party.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you haven't been with us very long, but you are like family, and we are here for you if you choose it.
Well, apparently I'm going to need some help because there's like fey magic on me or something. That's
Or something.
or something.
Do your feet hurt?
What?
No. Do your feet hurt?
Yes.
Oh, what are you talking about?
They've been hurting ever since last time we saw Citrus. So at first I thought it was my shoes or something, and the longer it went on, the more I realized that anything odd that happens the moment after seeing him, I don't know exactly what it is, but I have a feeling he's responsible.
Your feet hurt. As of today?
As of shortly after we last talked to Citrus. Not just now.
And this... I mean, fey magic has happened to you before? Could I fix it?
From what I understand, fey magic's really complicated.
I don't know. And
Like
are we walking or are we in the hotel?
I think we're in the. Yeah, we're in the.
Yeah, you're back
our
inside
rooms.
of
Yeah.
Okay.
Dash is in here with us.
He's just following us around now.
I know there's
He's just
probably,
joining the party now.
I know there's probably like candlelight, but I'm just gonna pull out the lit orb and show where I have no shadow and just be like, if you really think you can fix that.
Does that have to do with your feet? Or is that two separate things?
You've pissed off a lot
I
of
don't
fays.
do well with Faye. It's two separate things.
Citrus didn't do the shadow thing.
But you think he did the feet thing?
Maybe, but I don't know. I don't think he did the shadow. I'm pretty sure he did the foot thing because the last words he said to me have just been repeating in my head, which was that I need to slow down.
And think about
My actions.
yeah. Think that your actions have consequences.
Losing your shadow. It doesn't hurt, right?
I have no idea. I have felt no effects from losing my shadow other than my hobby of puppeteering is gone.
Wait.
You
That's
use shadow puppets?
really?
Were you any good at it?
A career ruined.
I was. I
He has
mean,
looked into going to
I
school.
tried
I'm
to-
not kidding.
yeah, I tried to learn to play the violin, and I got pretty good. But then Valen made me not want to keep pursuing it. And so I decided I might try shadow puppets. And I was getting pretty good. It's gone.
Well, one.
I think
screw that guy.
I want to roll an insight check on that because I don't think that's right.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Wait, on the Valen thing?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was gonna say
that's
it's-
wrong.
Okay, it's a 17 plus
By the
something.
way, I'm thinking what we'll start doing here is you
we
can
doing here?
roll either persuasion or deception, but you don't have to say out loud which one it is. So you can roll a dice when this kind of thing happens. That way, they don't. It's like we'll know if it's a lie if
Yeah.
it succeeds, but
Yeah.
like Otherwise, the fact that you're rolling a dice doesn't automatically say that it's a lie. Does that make sense?
It does. That does. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So I'm just rolling.
I know it's a lie, but
I'm
ser-
rolling for something.
I rolled a dirty 20.
Deception, right?
If he's
No.
telling the truth, it's persuasion.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
you don't have to say. But
Yeah.
What did you get?
Or 30-20.
I got 19.
So I know it's something.
So it is persuasion. I am telling the truth. You are just misunderstanding it.
That Val
Yes,
made you
Eric.
want to quit playing the violin.
He was way better than me. That's why I gave it up. Like, do you not remember?
No, I actually don't.
I got a violin, and I was like, I'm going to learn violin. And then suddenly now I was like, I play the violin. And I was like, really? And
Oh,
like,
no.
and then you just busted it
teaching
out.
you.
Yeah. Then you just busted it out. Like,
Can't take someone's hobby.
like, I was like so excited that I was gonna do this thing, and you're like, oh, dude, I can already do that. And I was like, and I haven't fucking pulled it out since.
Actually, you have.
No, not since Valen left.
You played a couple times.
Not since
That's
Valen left.
Valen left.
Yeah.
Nope, Sarah has never heard me play.
Okay.
That's what I was saying.
pretty sure that's
Number
true.
one, screw that guy.
You guys will get him back? Sounds like a jerk.
It wasn't his fault. It was in all honesty, but I just wanted something that was me and mine. And he was far better at it than I was, and there was no point in me trying to catch up. So I looked for something else that I could bring.
Well, actually, I can do shit now.
Let that be the fuck.
This is player choice at this point. Wait, what do you want to do? What do you want to do, Danny? Okay, I'm gonna do that too.
That's so wrong. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're getting sidetracked.
Yes.
But Fey magic.
That's
is
hard
on
to.
you.
Yeah. No, yeah. Adressa was saying that she could like see something was wrong with me, and that it seemed like Fey magic had something to do with it. That there was, I think, like something wrong with my brain.
Was she a part of doing that to you? Like the whole Cithras thing? She orchestrated all of that? She orchestrated that on you?
No, she seemed really confused. Isn't the right word. I don't even know, concerned. She doesn't seem like the person that gets concerned. I don't know what the right word would be to describe that, but it wasn't, I didn't get the sense it was from her. Something that was already there. It's like there's something, she even said there's something wrong with you.
Hey, magic. You think it could be Cithras? I mean, how much Fey interaction
I
have
don't know, I
we
mean-
had?
Citrus, even though he keeps calling me fake, whatever, fake Valen, I think is who he's talking about. Yeah, I don't think we've ever had that relationship that you have had with him, to where he'd want to screw me over in some way.
I don't want meta, but were we aware of the fact that
That the
the hag was a Fey?
Yeah, you did
I think
it was like a
Did-
history check or something like
Yeah.
that.
I
It
did
was
a-
natural 20 and
yeah.
did something that revealed that part of it.
Yeah.
You
I
guys
think
know that he went in and talked by himself.
Yeah, I'll look at stuff.
And that arranged everything.
Plus, Bear at the time did his search thing for being.
Divine sense.
Yeah.
And knew that it was
Yeah.
a Fey
Yeah,
presence.
yeah.
Which I really like.
Could be. I mean, he had to do something to get us teleported. It's not like she would have done it for free.
You went and talked to the hag.
Yeah. We have talked about this. I remember talking to the hag. I don't remember like the specifics of anything that was really said in there, other than the overall sense that I had to give something up.
Because of the nature of the bargain,
Yeah.
you don't know the details.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I remember talking to the hag, and then like he kind of stares off for a second. Like it's almost like he's trying to capture something and he can't. Yeah. I mean, I talked to the hag. You think that was it?
She messed with your head. Your memories? Can't remember.
Well, sure. I mean, I can remember things. know. I don't think details are important about stuff. Like I can remember, I think traveling to Lirindil.
Do you remember why you came to Lirindil?
It's just traveling around, just making my way through the country.
By yourself?
Yeah, by myself.
He didn't talk to us a little bit before the hag thing.
Yes, he
Because I
did.
said, what is your deal? And you were talking, you told us you were from Bloodpool.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you told us you had buddies.
I think I did
That
actually.
you-
Yeah.
You also told us you were down here for revenge.
Hanging with.
Specifically.
Yeah.
I just don't remember if all of us were on that conversation.
We
or
were,
if
we
it was
were.
certain ones of us. And that's why I'm like,
No, because we were all sitting there and everybody got quiet and I looked straight at him
Yeah.
and I said, what is your deal? And everybody thought that was funny. And then we started interrogating him.
A little bit.
And I
Yeah.
kind of felt bad afterwards for grilling him.
so you just came to Lirindale because you were traveling?
Yeah, I just kind of pop around, learn a few things. I think, like with Lirindale, I tend to. I saw the rebellion going on. I don't really like when people essentially bully other people, and that's kind of what I saw, and decided to get involved. And
I do remember you saying something like that, but I
Yeah.
also remember you saying that you were coming for revenge. You just didn't specify on who.
well, I'm trying to get revenge on anyone.
You lost your friends.
I haven't really had any friends. I mean, there are a few that people I get along with in the rebellion, but
Sorry, that's what you told us.
For the rebellion.
Revenge for your friends that you lost somehow.
no.
Yeah, that. You don't remember the conversation we had before you met the hag.
Probably not. If it's got details like that.
Yeah, nothing related to the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember you guys asking me some questions, but like I told you what, like blood pool and all that kind of stuff. But yeah,
What else don't you remember? I know. Remember what you forgot? Come on.
Ignore that.
yeah.
No, but that doesn't.
Love that question.
So,
Yeah, you're asking more rhetorically. I got it.
no more than that. Like, I want you to think back to when you traveled down here. Do you have exact memories of why you traveled down here? Or do you just have senses of your memory? Like, I think it was
Well,
this.
I mean, it's kind of like, you think about what'd you have for breakfast 3 months ago on a Saturday, whatever. It's like, I mean, I had breakfast and I ate something. Like, the details aren't important though.
No, but do you have strong memories of any instance during your travels down here and your drive to do so?
No, it's probably just pretty standard stuff. Nothing extremely riveting or exciting. Just
But we're telling you that's not what you said.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if you have
Maybe.
anything else that's fuzzy.
is it like a misheard kind of thing? Is it?
No.
I'm sorry, we just talked about how Hadressa, whatever her name is, said that you've got fey magic going on in your head.
Yeah. I mean, I really don't like to think about that right now. He starts kind of fidgeting a little bit.
I mean, what did you say to her? What did...
To address her?
The hag.
Oh. I mean, I clearly I didn't.
No, I know.
We got something
Just talking
done
out loud.
to get us to Al Raqqa.
I didn't even know teleportation was possible. And for that to have happened, it did not come cheaply. So believe me when I tell you, I don't know what it is, but you obviously have lost something.
Do you think I gave up something important?
Yeah.
they or she or whatever it was told us that the deal they wanted was suffering. Whatever you gave up is going to cause suffering. So it'd have to be important.
I mean, you seem unfazed. You seem fine. But I don't know how this... I want to help, but I don't know
I
what we're looking at here.
only found this out, like, today, last night, whenever Adressa and I spoke, whenever the conversations were.
I mean,
I'm only finding this out, that there might be something wrong with me. I don't know. I mean, I can vaguely remember traveling to Lirindil from Bloodpool. I don't, like I said, nothing important happened, nothing that would make me create, a strong memory as far as I know. Just traveling through the mountains.
I'm going to cast a 4th level Dispel Magic on him.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm curious how this goes because after that conversation with Adressa,
if this doesn't work, I'm gonna ask her. I just what's gonna do tonight.
I already cast Greater Restoration and that would have took it away.
Yeah.
I mean, Adressa did say that Fey magic, and that's what I was mentioned earlier, Fey magic works differently.
It does.
Actually, it only takes away 1 effect, so we'll try that too. This doesn't work.
You just dump all your spells.
Well,
I mean, it's the end of the day. Let's go.
she did say that like it's dangerous to try to do something with Fey magic. That if like it.
Well, I don't tell you that I'm casting it. I just
Okay.
let you undo it.
No, that's fine. I'm totally okay with this. Just walk it by me. Be gone.
Okay. So you're trying to cast Dispel Magic on him?
Yeah, you didn't tell me that.
No, nope. Let's go for it.
On his head specifically.
His luscious blue.
Yes.
I wouldn't say luscious. It's not really. It's like a faux hawk kind of deal.
I need you to, let's see, make an ability check with your spellcasting ability, not your attack, but your spellcasting ability modifier.
Is that the plus 5 modifier? Okay.
This is the night that Sarah dies.
I have a diamond.
It's all good.
It's like all my inventory resume.
Yeah. It's been like the 3rd time you've had to revive Sarah.
21.
21?
Yeah.
So as you are doing, the hand motions, it's odd. It's like your brain is still working correctly, but your hands just slow down. And you hear a voice in your head go, "Oh, hello. I'm sorry. Are you certain you want to do that? Trying to cheat. A deal is never going to work out well."
Can I respond? Does it feel like I can respond?
You can try.
I'm gonna figure out what you screwed around with. I'm gonna get it back.
It was a deal that we worked out, as you know, when we spoke with you. It was completely voluntary. He only struck a deal that he agreed to. Just as if you had decided to rescue your mother from all the suffering she endures, we would have honored your bargain just the same. And I don't think you'd want somebody else messing with that, would you? So we would ask you again, are you sure you want to do this?
I don't say anything to that.
But do you continue to cast a spell or do you stop? Because I'm assuming it's like a time slowed down and kind of stop.
Yeah, it's like this.
Okay.
This.
I'm not just standing
A moment
there.
in time.
No,
Yeah.
this is only happening in your head in this brief instant
Yeah.
of her conveying. Potential consequences of trying to reverse the
Got
deal.
my hand under you and I like pull back for a second.
Good choice. And then as it kind of fades away.
I mean, I had no idea you were doing it, so I had no idea what's going on. But yeah, it's kind of where I am right now. It doesn't feel good.
I think we might be in a little bit of a pickle.
We will help you figure this out.
I tried.
The way
She
that
talked to me.
What?
I tried.
who talked to you?
Her.
The hag?
When?
Yeah.
Just now.
Why would she talk to you?
Because I tried to fix him.
What?
I mean, I think it's like a verbal component spell. I mean, I think you know I cast a spell.
You definitely would have seen her trying to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what we're like. That's what we're trying.
Well, because you're like,
It's an instantaneous
okay, you're
spell,
sort of
but I'm
telling
like, I
me.
touch you,
Yeah.
I cast a spell.
And that's why.
I thought it happened before you actually touched. I thought all that was happening. All that happened before you.
It was like as she reached the end of like
Okay.
executing the spell, like is
Okay.
The
when
magic, how it felt in my hand or whatever, did it feel like it could have worked? Like I could have pushed through? I could have made the choice?
It's hard to tell for sure because you stopped it. I mean, you had no reason at that point to believe not,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
but she was just giving you the choice of what, you know.
I don't know. She knew.
Fae are pretty powerful. I mean, as annoying as Cithra is, he's powerful.
I don't know. Can't you talk to Adressa or whatever? She could fix it.
I don't.
She didn't seem very. I mean, she
I
didn't
don't-
say no because I asked. I asked if there's a way to fix it, and she's like, "It's very hard. It's dangerous to mess with Fae magic."
I don't think Adressa is the one we need to ask. I have someone that I think might be able to give us some better ideas. But I wasn't going to contact her tonight. But I will contact her tomorrow. We have other things
Hmm.
we need to worry about.
Well, yeah, one fire at a time,
Yeah.
and we need to take care of the one we're closest to first, which is getting the weapons out of the country and back to Lirindil.
So
Just right quick. What's your demeanor? If I need to roll an insight check.
Well, what's your passive?
19.
Yeah, you don't have to try not to have to roll too much. I guess it depends on like how we're sitting around the room. If I'm like sitting at a table, because
It's up to
high,
you.
yeah, up high, like look fairly calm, composed, but underneath that leg is just like doing this. Like he's anxious, but you may not be able to tell it from like facial expressions because he's trying to maintain some composure.
I think you know. I wouldn't have an idea. I would just be like, he's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's true. That's valid. That's why I gave you that. No, I did say he was fidgeting a little bit earlier, like
Yeah.
kind of just doing. So you would see that and probably get a pretty good idea. He's a little anxious about it.
Yeah, I think it's been a long day, and
Mhm.
we all just need to get some rest
Yeah.
and figure it out.
We've got a good thing going. We've got the beginnings of a plan to get everything squared away. We just got to figure out how to get from point A to point B, then B to C, and the fun part's going to be getting it into Lirindil. That's going to be awesome.
Well, the problem is we can't really talk to this captain until we get there, and
Mhm.
sorry, I don't know why I keep forgetting his name, but he's taking care of the
Yagan.
Yagan. Thank you. Yagan's taking care of the caravan for us, and he's going to let us know when and where we need to be to travel
Good.
with it.
That's right.
We've got to
yes.
figure out Port to Lirindil.
Yes. I also, just so you're aware, I know you're expecting to have people. I told him to minimize the amount of people he's sending with us, but to make sure that the one he does send
Familiar face.
is, well, not familiar face, but is one competent enough to make the connections that we're going to establish along the way
Once we're gone.
to maintain those relationships.
Did he have someone in mind?
I seemed confident.
Okay.
He did not give me a name specifically, but so that's taken care of. I think we did our shopping already. I think we need to rest up, and tomorrow we need to hedge our bets and maybe have you contact the Hurricane Sisters,
See where they are.
just in case.
Mhm.
And then I've got some people that I need to contact as well tomorrow.
I'd love to get with the Hurricane Sisters anyway, after finding out about the eye.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see them being our constant. Because if these shipments are coming in all the time and it's pretty routine, they may not be up for that.
Well,
But-
yeah, and the way that we got in touch with them was through
Yeah,
the
but
really
they
shady
might,
guy.
They might be able to help us establish a way to get it into Lirindil. So we should probably meet with them anyway if we can.
Mhm.
But yeah, I've had a few messages I need to send tomorrow as well. I know it's hard to sense because she's not here, but I'm still kind of mad at her. So, did did you want to crash with me tonight?
Okay.
Just, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I need to explain to you why. Like,
But she's asking anyways. You okay?
yeah, I'm all right.
Alright.
I don't know, kind of a kindred spirit thing going.
Oh no. Yes,
I
her
think
eyes.
Asura- yeah, I think Asura is. Are you okay? You came out of that meeting very unhappy looking
Which meeting?
with Adrasa.
Mhm. Yeah, and even after the meeting with Cithrus, you seemed a little bit more. Yeah.
I was threatened in there. At
She
least it felt that way.
she threatened you?
She knows everything.
What do you mean by everything?
She knows me. She knows who I am, where I come from.
Look, I don't know everything about your history, but it doesn't take long to figure out that you're running from something or hiding.
Mhm.
Does she know? I mean, you can tell us if you want, but does she know what that thing is?
Yeah. She knows it better than I do.
Did she use that as a threat?
It certainly felt threatening. She doesn't want me, my past, becoming a problem for you all. For her. And I can't promise that it won't.
We can promise you that we'll be here for you if it does.
Yeah.
Look, dress is important, but at the same time, she doesn't dictate this group. I lost my soul, and we spent more than enough time and danger trying to get it back. Rest his soul bare. I mean, we were ready
to drop everything and go to his family. Like, this team is important. Your history, whatever it may be, if it gets in the way, we'll face it together.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. I don't think she cares about me as much as she cares about you guys. Whatever you had going on with your soul, I'm sure she knew about that. She didn't bring that up in your conversation, did she?
No, because she already knew it had happened.
Yeah, and she was probably, fine with it? But
And I don't get the sense. I don't know if she cares about anybody. She cares about the thing that's happening and trying to save that. I think she even told me as much that she would sacrifice.
Yeah, we're all pawns.
One to save 6 million or whatever, to save the world. She would do it in a heartbeat, split-second decision. Wouldn't even think about it.
I think she is the type who is very focused on one thing, and she is the type who will do the hard things that other people wouldn't want to do to accomplish their goals. But you are talking to someone who is being actively hunted. I am a tiefling of the wrong color in the worst place for her to be. I don't even know what is chasing me, but apparently it's dangerous. There's some high priestess looking for people of my color. There's we've already had to fight off at least one person looking for me to take me in. There's some sort of shadow on me, hiding me from something that must be very dangerous for such powerful magic to be hiding me. You're not the only one whose past could endanger this.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're being chased by, we have no idea what. I lost my soul and am currently being chased, or at least followed, by a archfey. And as far as I know, Hadressa's never brought any of that up to me. Or to you. So why is your past so worrying to her? That's the question.
I mean, she was concerned about me, not whatever was on me, and she was worried that would compromise the mission. The whole whatever's wrong with me thing.
I think it's more that with you, she's worried that you're compromised. Not that your past actions are going to affect the mission, but that you might be compromised and
Well, I mean,
make the wrong choice.
If I have had something taken from me like that, who's to say? Who's to say that I don't have something in my past that could come back and...
But that's what I mean. But I know for a fact that we have things that Adressa has not brought up to us. And so, yours I kind of understand if you're compromised. But what is chasing you that would make Adressa scared is my question.
I don't know if you all had the same introductions with her that I did. When I came in, sat down, she said, "Tell me why I shouldn't kill you," and then proceeded to tell me everything I've got going on.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that might have been how it went. So long ago.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
It's hazy, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, she knew who I was. She knew.
As a reminder, because it was over 100 episodes ago when you first met her, she did have some moments of very intense, like, clarity with you guys of, like, I will not hesitate to kill you or anyone else that crosses this purpose. Like,
No, I distinctly remember that. But I've never, like, she's never brought up, like, you have an archfey coming after you.
I don't know about that one particularly. I don't remember for sure. You have talked about Bulgash with her. That's all something they're familiar with.
Yeah, she did. She did throw in a few concerns, but like,
Her and her boss have talked about it with you.
Yeah.
Understandably.
Yeah.
yeah,
Few
but
concerns,
like,
you know.
but like, what? To me, I'm like, whatever it is that you've got, it seems like it has her worried, and at least by your retelling of it.
I'm still figuring out who you're involved with, clearly. She knows. She has people on the inside, Mandor. And I don't know how close those people are to my own family. My father is the high priest under Our Lady. She knows that. He has high standing where I'm from. There's some weight to that. I know that. So. And she knows where my brother is. She told me.
There's very few people that she doesn't know. She is a double-edged sword. She is all about mission, but at the same time, if she thinks helping you will refocus you to her mission, she will. I mean, I had my doubts about her, but after today, she's basically proved to me that she can back up anything that she says. And so I don't know what she promised you or threatened you, but
Anyone who knows who I am scares me. So.
I mean, she's not going to turn you in if that's what you're worried about,
How do you know?
because it wouldn't be in her best interest, and she's only going to act in her best interest.
How do you know it's not?
Because we are a team with you, and we care about you.
And
Yeah.
you're her number one guys?
We are not her number one guys at all, but she knows us well enough to know that we would not let that lie.
The reason I said all that was to say that you and I are the same in some ways, and we don't care. We're family.
I told her that, you know, I know she's, all she cares about is her Eldrin, whatever.
Yeah.
And I told her I didn't want to screw any of that up for her, for you guys. I told her if things got too hairy, I'm out of here.
Is that what you want?
Yeah, that's not going to work for us.
Or is that what you told her because you think that's what she wanted to hear?
Both, I guess. I just don't want any of you in the mix. So,
She asked us about you when she talked to us separately. And I'll be honest with you, she asked if we thought that you were ready, that you could, if offered, be part of the Eldrin. Sort of vouched for you without hesitation and said yes. I didn't. I told her I thought you were scared. But when she asked me if it came down to saving the world or saving yourself, I said that's not even a question, that you would save the world without hesitation. And I think the only reason why you're saying that you would leave is because you think somehow that would save us. Or someone else. But that's what I'm telling you. You are ready. I don't think you would ever make a bad decision. I don't think you're scared for yourself. I think you're scared for others. And so when Aggressor reframed the question, I changed my answer because I have no doubt you would make the right choice in a life or death situation.
Scared for myself, scared for others. Can I be both?
Yeah, but which one would you choose? Yourself or others? Honestly.
Honestly, I don't know, because I trust myself way less than you guys trust me.
You haven't given me any cause to think otherwise.
No, I mean, you pulled us out of the fire, me especially, several times. I trust you completely. Not even a question.
And look at who you're talking to. No one should trust me, but here we are. I am not one to judge.
I need to tell you guys everything. But can we do it in the morning?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, let's get some rest, guys.
Mm-hmm. It's been a day. All right.
All right.
Yep. You want to go lay down?
Yep.
Screw you for saying I wasn't ready.
I did. I'm not gonna lie about it. Like I really
I said that
did.
in character.
Okay. That's fine, because, look, I'm not, because now we're in a room, right? Good.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make you spill your life story. Honestly, I wanted to have a moment to talk just to you. I was going to ask you about the Dressa thing, but you brought that up. I just want you to know that I really value you as a team member and as a family member to this party. But we talk more about that tomorrow. The other reason I wanted to talk to you is we need to be very careful with Sarek.
I thought he would be more concerned.
Look,
I mean, he was a little twitchy, but I don't know.
I remember when we were traveling in the desert and the snake. I remember that feeling where I cared about you guys, but the magic that was on me would not allow me to
not defend that person, that creature. It's hard to explain, but if that's anything like what he's going through, pushing on those buttons to make him confront it may cause more damage than good.
I'm very well aware that I almost caused a bit of damage, so I'll back off.
Like, I'm not saying that we abandon him. We need to try to figure this out through sources outside of him, honestly. So,
You think you have that?
I don't know. There's two people I can think of, and one, if Hydressa says she doesn't really know, that makes me concerned because the person I was going to go to is her boss, Enduriel. Because he's a very, very powerful and knowledgeable wizard. But then I thought about it. We have somebody that might be even better. You haven't met her, but we have a friend in the Fey realm.
Really?
We do.
Friend. They friend.
Uh, kind of. That's why it's complicated. She is Fey, but wasn't raised Fey, and then we didn't know she was Fey until we helped her get there. But she's been there for a while, and if anybody is going to know intimately about the Fey and be able to explain it to us in a way that we can understand, it's going to be her. Like, I'm sure Cithras could tell me exactly how to break a Fey deal, but he will never. It's not in his nature.
Can that be the last time we ever speak to him again?
If we can help it. Yeah, see, this is bonding.
I know I'm the message sender, but please, by the gods, please.
No, you have no idea, because for the longest time, we would meet people in this world, and I was like, screw that person, I don't like them. And the entire party was like, they're great, let's keep working with them. And finally, for the first time, it feels really nice to be acknowledged.
To be validated.
Yes, because like, Padressa, fucking hate her. Yes. Cithras, yes. I'm like,
We hate the same people. It's
yes,
bonding
it really is. It feels so good. In character and out, I'm just like, okay. So yeah, I think if we reach out to her in the morning, that we can find something out. I would do it tonight, but if I do it without, you know who around, she'll be very upset. So, Asura needs to be around when I contact her. I just need a night to prepare for that.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Question: is there one bed in this space?
I'll sleep on the floor.
Oh, well, I wasn't gonna say if you had to do that.
But okay.
Okay. Well, I would just say, as we get ready to go to sleep, you're at the foot, side. Where are you?
Oh.
Or just like in a corner.
I'm probably gonna be in a corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll get ready for bed, and I'm like in the bed, covered, I'm like back facing you, but you just hear my voice kind of crack. Hey, Stoic.
Yeah.
Thank you for trying to stop me to go talk to that hag.
Of course. Your family. And see. Like, I just see the lights.
Eyelids.
Yeah, I just see the lights moving. I'm like.
Okay. So, anything else you're trying to do tonight? Messages or any of that kind of stuff you were talking about? Like,
No, I'm gonna wait. I'm asleep. I'm out.
Okay.
I think Sarah might go down to the bar and get a couple of drinks to kind of calm his nerves a little bit.
It's always one of us.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And then go back and like he's just gonna take a corner in the room and sleep
Okay.
It's kind of restless sleep. It's not the best, but I still want the long rest. So
Okay.
I don't want to walk around with exhaustion. That sucked.
Okay. Sure. Okay. So as you guys, slowly, and some of you quicker than others, make your way into a troubled sleep. After a mixed and heavy and confusing, good and bad day, that's where we're going to end tonight.
I definitely felt like that went a lot better. Coming into the night, I was like, I don't know what we're going to do. I have no idea. That went
I didn't either.
fairly well, comparatively.
I was really hoping we were just gonna find somebody that already had an established thing and charm them, and then have to pay some kind of like percentage. I'm like, we could make this work. We could.
Yeah, we got a little bit of
After
money.
all that, Yagan, man of the hour.
Yeah.
Love
Oh,
that
yeah.
guy. Love that guy.
MVP. He's the real MVP on this one.
That poor guy, man. He was so stressed.
And dealing with Cithra, who's just stressing him out more.
Well, dude, it was nice because it really felt like we were the only ones trying to do anything, and
Yeah.
we were responsible for everything. And so when you had us walk in and this guy is down there and like Cithra's is stressed, I was like, whew, someone else I can push the work on. I was like, this is gonna be great. And like I didn't even think about it until Desh, like all that, and I was like, oh, now you owe us. I'm like, I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
Okay, trading favors, even though technically we're the one that fucked you in the first place.
Yep.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that was super interesting. I literally had almost no notes on any of that because it was like I had no idea what you were doing. So
So you didn't have it pre-planned that that's how Dresden was going to pay me back? Like, did that just come to you in the moment?
well, it came to me after thinking through what you requested and thinking through how how
that
she would
looked
go
like.
about things.
Yeah.
Because she did mention to you that she had inroads already, or at least something influence she had in one aspect.
She did. She was like, I knew she was going to do it. I just didn't expect to see results of it that fast. I think.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what the bargain was, so you don't know what the arrangement
I
is.
don't know what my bargain was.
Yep, that's going to be an expensive
What
one.
did I promise her a favor or something?
An
Yeah.
open-ended favor.
Same thing Valen gave. He has not yet gotten to see his end of that bargain.
Yeah, dude. Stoic's biography is just going to be called Debt.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're not wrong. Like, I feel like a college student.
The institution got you, man.
The world goes on. I'm productive. But it's always looming.
You have to just forget about it because if you don't, you're gonna have like an
Yeah.
existential crisis.
Yeah, it's just always there.
Yeah.
Too real.
Yeah.
Maybe it gets real.
For like 20 years, it's just hanging over you. You know.
This is my life you're describing here. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I'm doing well, I'm productive, like conquering missions, slaying dragons. Still there.
Still in debt. Can't be forgiven.
Pay it off someday.
Yup. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week as they, I think, finally head out of Tir Ratha. And we'll see how the rest of these conversations go and that sort of thing, and where it goes from here. All right. We will see you guys next week. Bye.